Number 10. How they met. In an interview with Harper's Bazaar UK in 2019, Sophie spoke about their meeting and she basically said they got set up. She explained that they had a lot of mutual friends and they had been trying to introduce them for quite some time. Apparently they were following each other on Instagram and he direct messaged her one fine day out of the blue. Soon after the meeting, he invited her to meet up with his tour that was passing through the UK. She said that the two of them had an instant connection, even though she hadn't expected to like him. She said he didn't bring security, he brought a friend, and they drank just as hard as the rest of us. I remember us two spending only a couple of minutes on the dance, and then we found a space in the far corner and we just talked. Sophie went on to say that they talked for hours and hours, but that she was never bored. She felt that the conversation wasn't contrived, it wasn't small talk. From her point of view, it was just easy. She said soon they were inseparable, and then she went on tour with him. So at that point, it seemed like she had really fallen hard for this dude, and marriage came very quickly after that. Like very quickly, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Number 9. Age is but a number. Joe was 28 years old when he popped the question to his then 21-year-old girlfriend Sophie. A lot of people believe that age is just a number. Many didn't find this to be a big deal at first. An insider close to the couple revealed that they were madly in love, and while Sophie is a bit younger than he is, she grew up in a small English town, so it's not completely out of the ordinary for an age difference to be glossed over. Many fans also came to her defense, citing her mental maturity. While she may have been 21, she was forced to grow up very fast, and because of that, she was probably closer to like a 30-year-old mentally speaking. The red flag is that much like celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio or Al Pacino, Joe tends to date people much younger than himself, like supermodel Gigi Hadid. His oldest girlfriend was Taylor Swift. She was a whole 4 months older than him. Wow, make way for grandma! Despite how uncomfortable many fans found the age gap to be, the couple did not care, and really, that's what matters. Number 8. Flirty McGurty. When these two first got together, it was believed that Joe had all of the leverage. Why? Well, Sophie was into him for quite some time, but she was aware that at the time, Joe was not known for his commitment skills. When they first met, he was a player, and according to several women, he was seeing them simultaneously and without each other's knowledge. Joe's tone shifted though when he met Sophie. By December of 2016, he was becoming a one-woman kind of guy. According to Sophie, they were intoxicated with each other and they started dating exclusively. However, it appears that he was playing the field for so long that he's forgotten to turn off his game. Joe was still flirting with women at his shows, and while it may have been accidental, the fact that he's not aware of what he's doing was cause for concern. Not only has Joe flirted with other people in the past, but apparently his ex Sophie did as well, with one of Joe's close friends whose jaw literally dropped when he saw her in real life. Number 7. The private PDA? Despite crying out to the public to just leave them alone, Sophie and Joe were known for their aggressive PDA. Whether it's getting cozy at an awards show, or at a Kings of Leon's concert, or during a shopping trip. Page 6 reported that in May of 2017, the couple went into a dressing room together in a Soho boutique. According to the report, the couple entered the change room and a customer noticed both of them in bare feet below the door. Now, while it's super creepy that someone was just peeking under doors in Soho, it was clear that Sophie was trying on clothes for Joe in the privacy of their own little room. When they exited, they noticed the couple to be giggly and very touchy-feely. Now, while being close isn't a bad thing per se, these two have constantly asked the world to ignore them and stop focusing on their love lives. Well, hey man, then stop licking your wife in public. Number 6. In and out. Las Vegas weddings. Quick, easy, and everlasting. Joe and Sophie tied the knot in Las Vegas after publicly claiming several times that they were in no rush to get married. After telling the world they'd be taking time off for themselves following their engagement, it was not less than a month later that they tied the knot and attended the Billboard Music Awards right after getting their license, like on the exact same day. They went to a little wedding chapel in Las Vegas that's famous for its star weddings, like Britney Spears' marriage to her friend Jason Alexander for 2 days. Not to mention, the wedding featured some huge Vegas cliches. There was an Elvis impersonator literally officiating the thing. Many speculate that Joe was trying to prove something to his brothers by throwing the exact opposite of their weddings. Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra had an extravagant $1 million wedding spanning multiple days. The only people in attendance for Joe and Sophie were Joe's brothers, DJ Khaled and Diplo. They also didn't wear the traditional dress and suit, instead opting for slacks and jeans. To cap it all off, they used ring pops instead of real rings to seal the deal. Man, I feel like I'm describing a dream that I had. Number 5. Sophie was hesitant. Sophie Turner singer previously admitted to OK Australia in 2016 that she's never dated anyone who she didn't know before or who is in the industry. Her reasoning? Well, in addition to being more focused on her career than her love life at the time, she claimed that their lifestyles were a contributing factor. Joe and Sophie had different ideas of what was fun. She went on to say how on-set romances are amazing, but they tend to be very temporary when it comes to their time together, so that was a big fear for her. The logistics seemed to be her main concern as well. If she was filming in Australia and he was on tour in the States, how would that work? They'd never see each other. After getting together officially with Joe, Sophie did admit that she felt like she was in a fishbowl. Frustratingly for her, the smallest thing would be made into headline news. If she stubbed her toe on the sidewalk, it was in the front page. Her frustrations are legitimate, but why maintain this charade for so long if you're uncomfortable from the start? Number 4. Short and sweet. Before being engaged, the couple only dated for a very short time. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner were first linked after attending a Halloween party together in 2016. The singer showed up dressed as a Dalmatian, while his love interest sported some pink sequins bunny ears, according to People magazine. Less than a week later, they were spotted looking very comfortable at the pre-MTV European Music Awards event in the Netherlands, where Kings of Leon's performed. Less than a year after getting together, Sophie was spotted with a ring on her finger, and the engagement was confirmed. Many people get engaged early in their relationship, but as you've seen through this video, this was a case of rushing into things a little too quickly considering some of the other entries on this list. Number 3. She's messing with a gold digger. According to an inside source close to the couple, Joe was beyond excited when he started dating Sophie, and sounds like it's because of her money. According to the source, one of the main reasons that Joe is so smitten with his ex-man wife is because she is able to provide for herself and for him. Apparently, Sophie does not let Joe pay for most things, something the musician is not used to. When speaking about his wife in interviews, Joe kinda just backed up the whole gold digger theory, as the first and foremost thing that he mentions is how much he loves her independence. He literally said, "She buys me stuff all the time. I love it." While many praised Sophie for her efforts, many people started pointing out the red flag and expressing their discomfort knowing that Joe Jonas doesn't pay the bill when he's out with his lady. Maybe that's why they're getting divorced. Maybe she kept the tabs and the bill finally came due. Number 2. Different love languages. According to Sophie herself, she learned that a majority of what she knows about physical intimacy was from her time on the HBO series Game of Thrones. I'm not sure why this needs to be said, but I'm gonna say it. Don't treat Game of Thrones as something to learn from. Dragons aren't real. They're not real, Nate. Thanks to the show, it may have skewed her view on what proper intimacy looks like. Meanwhile, Joe just seems to love chit-chatting about his private parts. Seriously, like every chance this guy gets, it's genitalia. He boasted to Vulture in December of 2013 about removing his purity ring, which himself and his brothers Kevin and Nick rocked during their Disney days. In October of 2016, he then talked about the size of his little dinghy compared to that of his brothers, which is just too much information. Very uncomfortable. He goes on to recount the time that he lost his V card and about becoming a little bit too excited while filming music videos with Ashley Graham and Charlotte McKinney. Sophie has expressed her disappointment in this lack of restraint and has begged him to quit numerous times, but he persists and now they're divorced. And at number 1, Joe took off his wedding ring first. In the weeks leading up to this divorce announcement, Joe was photographed without his wedding ring quite a few times. One of those moments was as far back as August 11th, when he was picking up an iced coffee in New York City. But since then, he's made a point of wearing it again, even as the couple have officially filed for divorce. On Monday, Joe posted a black and white photo on Instagram that showed him looking at the camera and holding a cup with his wedding band prominently on full display. Then, just this morning, he posted a statement to Instagram claiming that it was from the two of them. It said, "After 4 wonderful years of marriage, we have mutually decided to amicably end our marriage. There are many speculative narratives as to why, but truly this is a united decision and we sincerely hope that everyone can respect our wishes for privacy for us and our children." This is quite a shock considering that the news only broke a few days ago. Sources spoke to TMZ and said that Joe had his people contact at least 2 divorce lawyers in LA, and the couple has had serious problems in their relationship for at least 6 months. Number 10. The literal warnings from viewers. Despite 8 Passengers' popularity during its run, Frank's parenting style drew scrutiny and allegations of mistreatment from viewers very early on. Following a viewerschange.org petition to have the Franks investigated, Utah's Division of and Family Services visited the Franks' home and interviewed the children for 2 hours. According to a DCFS letter reviewed by Insider, the case was dropped due to a lack of evidence for the allegations. In an interview with the same outlet in 2020, Frank explained, "What people aren't understanding is that we are giving our choice in everything. We are teaching our children to be self-governing, so I was always very open with our son that he gets to choose how long he's separate from his brother, depending on his behavior." One incident that concerned viewers occurred when the Franks' daughter Eve went to school one day without her lunch. In a vlog, Ruby recalled a text message that she received from Eve's teacher asking whether she would be able to drop off some food to school, and Ruby responded with, "Eve is responsible for making her own lunches in the morning, so the natural outcome is she's gonna be hungry. Hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her lunch." You ever just want to throw someone off a cliff? Number 9, filmed herself. One of the biggest red flags of all is her obliviousness to what she has been doing. Not only did this woman mistreat her family, she filmed the entire thing. Seriously, someone must have told her that she was the best vlogger around, because despite being an actual piece of trash come to life, she continued to film every single terrible thing she ever did and shared it with the world. I'm not gonna get too deep into it because I can't talk about it. She has filmed herself making her cry, demanding that they apologize for little things, and literally calling them liars. Her eldest kids have even gone so far as to disown their mom, removing her as the legal guardian. According to the eldest, they have been trying to call their mom out for years, but their cries fell on deaf ears. Finally being vindicated and seeing justice play out. Number 8, her channel. Per Fox 13, Frank and her husband Kevin Frank are a Mormon couple and parents of 6 Cherie, Chad, Abby, Julie, Russell, and Eve. In 2015, the couple started the 8 Passengers channel on YouTube that documented the family's daily life. According to NPR, the most viewed clips from the channel showed the experiences growing up, such as them trying on clothes and being disciplined. At the height of its popularity, 8 Passengers had 2.5 million subscribers, only it was shut down this year. The main cause of the shutdown was the fact that those 2.5 million viewers were extremely concerned for the family and were noticing patterns of mistreatment from day one. Ruby thought she was popular for being a good parent, but people were just watching her videos in disbelief that a person this dense actually existed. Number 7, she's withholding. If Ruby knows how to do one thing wrong, it's be a parent. Since being arrested, thousands of fans have released video evidence of her being horrible over the years. One of her biggest overreactions that was documented was her refusal to celebrate Christmas one year to teach her a lesson about being selfish. Ruby literally showed them all of the gifts that she bought them and never gave them to the kids. She also refused to bring her daughter lunch one day after accidentally leaving it at home, like I talked about earlier, literally keeping food from the mouth of the person you're supposed to feed. It's disgusting. This woman deserves all the hate she is receiving, and I hope she gets put away for a very, very long time. Number 6, neighbors warned CPS. In the aftermath of Frank and Hildebrandt's arrests, 2 unidentified neighbors of Ruby Frank in Springfield, Utah spoke to NBC News, revealing that some people in the neighborhood earlier contacted the Utah Division of Child and Family Services over concerns about the welfare of the kids. Frank's neighbors also alleged that she began spending more time away from her home after she got involved with the company Connections. An anonymous source told NBC News that Frank kicked her husband Kevin out of their house last year. People have reached out to lawyers representing Kevin Frank, but they did not immediately hear back, so it's unclear if Frank or Hildebrandt have retained attorneys to speak on their behalf at this very moment. Number 5, her advice is terrible. Despite being a famous family vlogger, most people think her advice is just trash. The woman behind 8 Passengers, aka The Devil, is known for spouting some absolute nonsense. She shared her so-called parenting advice on her YouTube channel, which was basically ignore your when they cry for help and no pranks in the house. One of her most controversial comments / bad advice was suggesting that eating disorders were something made up for attention and are something to be ignored entirely. Anyone who's ever suffered from an eating disorder before knows for a fact that that's not the case. In fact, most times it's something uncontrollable, like a reaction to some serious life stuff. Stress, anxiety, literally so many things can cause that issue. She has said a million things that are wrong and cruel, but I'm not gonna get into all of them because my head might physically explode. I don't like this lady. Number 4, her business partner. Following 8 passengers, Frank launched the Connections podcast with Jody Hildebrandt, a therapist and founder of a self-improvement and empowerment company of the same name. According to the company's mission statement on its website, they invite and encourage healing and facilitate personal growth through impeccable honesty, rigorous personal responsibility, and humility. Okay. Per USA Today, viewers described both Frank and Hildebrandt's philosophy on parenting as extremely strict. In an April 2023 interview with the Into the Light podcast recorded before her mother's arrest, Cherie Frank explained that her family's involvement in the Connections company was a reason for her estranged relationship. She said that they joined Connections so that they could be growth-oriented. However, over time, according to her, Connections' teachings became more extreme and made her wonder if they were in accordance with her Christian beliefs. Her business partner is also involved in the arrest, as she is suspected to not only have knowledge of the mistreatment, but that she actively encouraged it. Number 3. Uncomfortable family. The proof that this woman was a literal monster comes from her interactions with her own family. Over the years, whether it's been online or in her own personal life, Ruby really likes to just document everything that happens for the cameras. Every time someone from her life is on camera, they just look immediately uncomfortable. They always seem to be taken off guard and in fear of what this woman might say next. In family portraits taken over the years, you can literally see Ruby with an iron grip on her as if she's going to pick them up and walk away the moment the photo is taken. Since the news of her arrest has come out, her eldest have come forward to confirm their mother's behavior over the years, claiming that family photos meant everyone make mom look good, or else. This woman is terrible, and I'm not going to try to be funny here because there's just no reason to be. She's terrible. That's it. She's terrible. Number 2, pranking. Ruby may be known for her strict parenting skills, but in May of this year, she posted a video with her son Chad titled "What We Haven't Told You." This video may have been the first red flag, and honestly should have been. In the video, Chad confessed that he was forced to sleep on a beanbag chair for 7 months in their basement as a punishment for tricking his little brother into thinking the family was going to Disneyland. This was something that had recently happened, as Chad mentions that he was just given his room back a few weeks prior to filming the video, and that video came out in May of this year. Chad told the story of the prank, and while it's cruel for sure, his mother's reaction is beyond extreme. According to Ruby, this was not the main reason she had forced him into the chair, claiming that he had been behind some extreme jokes on his younger siblings. But while they laughed this off initially, nobody thought this was funny, and thousands of comments were left claiming that this was just another form of neglect. Now, neglect is not the right word to use here, but I'm not allowed to say the real one on the internet. And at number 1, she's TikTok famous. TikTok is the reason that some truly terrible people have a massive following around the world. Ruby is one of those people. Over the years, to boost her views, Ruby has been posting TikToks with either edited footage from her YouTube channel or just straight up something that she made at home. While the videos have amassed millions of likes and views, it's not for the right reasons. The videos that are most popular see her giving either terrible parenting advice or showcasing just how horrible this woman really is. Her reaction to her behavior is truly something to behold. It seems like everything they do deserves just an overreaction. In one TikTok with over 11.3 million views, Ruby is scolding her youngest for not being excited about going to the movies, literally forcing her to smile and apologize. Several other TikToks showcase her reacting to her family and them having this face of just sheer terror. Every other day, she was tormenting the people she loved and treating them like dirt. So those are the Ruby red flags that we should have seen coming. Let us know how much you hate Ruby in the comments below. This video touches on some truly heavy subject matter, so I've asked the editor of this to include links to mental health services that are open 24/7. Number 10, Justin Bieber's roast. The comedy roast. The most wonderful tradition of the comedy world. A gathering of some of the funniest and most clever people on the scene coming together to make fun of each other on stage in a friendly and dark performance. In 2012, actor, comedian, scholar, and jerk James Franco participated in one of these roasts, inviting several top-tier comedians like Sarah Silverman, Aziz Ansari, and to host the show, he got his longtime buddy, Seth Rogen. One of the key members of the dais was Jonah Hill. Jonah was best known for comedic roles in movies like The Sitter and Superbad, but around 2011 he made a shift to the more serious side of filming, starring alongside Brad Pitt in the movie Moneyball. While he was sitting in his cozy little chair before his turn on the mic, everyone who came up to the stage had a joke to make about Jonah's behavior. He's been cold and rude, man, with his head jammed so far up his rear that he looks like an alien from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. When Jonah came to the stage to retort, he held his own, but his words were noticeably more scripted compared to his fellow performers who gave like a more off-the-cuff and authentic delivery. The truth has been there all along. Jonah said little to nothing to his fellow roasters following the event, apparently snubbing James himself. Everyone collaborated on a movie called This Is the End, and according to Seth Rogen, it was the last time that he ever saw Jonah Hill smiling and enjoying his time on set. It seems that his turn to the more serious side of things may have taken a toll on his ability to feel joy. Number 9. His choice of roles. Jonah's career is filled with everything from comedy blockbusters to serious dramatic pieces. He got his start working in comedy films, with one of his first performances being a brief cameo in the film 40-Year-Old Virgin before moving to a leading role in the classic cult comedy Superbad. It's one of my favorite movies, and Jonah is by far one of the best parts of it, on top of Bill Hader and Seth Rogen as cops. That's just legendary. While he started making people laughing in 2007, by the mid-2010s, Jonah had shifted his efforts to the more serious and macabre, with his roles in films like True Story and Wolf of Wall Street. He even earned an Oscar nomination for his supporting character in Moneyball with Brad Pitt. The red flag was the dramatic shift in tone from Hill as a performer. If you put his posters from the last 20 years side by side, you'll see that the older he gets, the less color there is on the page. Like, the more serious things are, the more black and white they need to be. He attempted to return to the comedy world in a recent Netflix movie called Don't Look Up, but thanks to the news of his possible tyranny arising, we doubt there will be a 23 Jump Street anytime soon. Number 8. His refusal to be interviewed. Have you ever noticed that when a Jonah Hill movie comes out, he's like never really been around to talk about it? Well, according to several celebrity news and interview sites, Jonah actually refuses to participate in most interviews simply because the ones that he has done in the past have just been extremely uncomfortable. When he was doing press for the movie Superbad, several of the interviewers were asking Jonah questions about his weight, calling him a large comedian over and over again. Now, he may be a large man, but that wasn't necessarily the selling point of Jonah Hill. The following few years, while still being involved in comedy films, Jonah was dodging questions left and right about his size, going up and down. Eventually, Jonah actually lost a ton of weight for his role alongside Channing Tatum in the comedy movie 21 Jump Street. The interviews for that film were the final straw for Jonah, though, now being asked by people why he was so thin, literally fighting one of the most unwinnable battles of interviewer time. Since the early 2010s, Jonah has been sticking to the shadows and simply being in whatever movie comes out. While the line of questioning may have caused him to avoid the interview spotlight, this was around the same time he shifted to a serious role in Moneyball, seemingly proving his mind had snapped. Number 7. Jonah's ex. Recently, a news article broke that has brought to light some troubling information about Jonah Hill. According to his ex-girlfriend Sarah Bradley, Jonah was emotionally damaging towards her during their relationship. The couple first got together in 2021, meeting on a beach as she was a surf instructor. According to a series of texts between Sarah and Jonah, it's obvious that he is mentally manipulative. He tells Sarah to remove any photos of her surfing from Instagram that showed her bum bum in a thong, and when she did that, he told her it was a good start, but that she didn't seem to get his point. He then told her, "It's not my place to teach you. I've made my boundaries clear. You refuse to let go of some of them, and you've made that clear, and I hope that makes you happy." In another screenshot, Jonah showed his plans and simple conditions for maintaining their relationship, including stating that he didn't want Sarah surfing with men. You know, like doing her job. He wrote a massive list of boundaries and rules that were clearly him trying to control everything that Sarah did. One point literally saying that she can't post pictures of herself in a bathing suit. What's she supposed to wear to the beach? A turtleneck? His manipulation is apparent and will surely shift Hollywood's opinion on the once great comedian. Number 6. The Wolf of Wall Street. Wolf of Wall Street is considered to be one of Martin Scorsese's best modern movies. The film is based on a book written by the titular wolf Jordan Belfort, chronicling his rise and demise to stock market fortune. In the film, Jonah plays Donnie Azoff, a man who actually quit his job to work for Jordan in the glory days. His character is a good time on screen, but Jonah's ability to play Donnie is just a little bit too good. Donnie's character spends the majority of the movie being a degenerate and getting his friends either arrested or injured over and over again. According to Martin Scorsese, Jonah would just walk on set and go in. No prep, no routine, he would just go. This should have been the biggest red flag of them all. If someone playing an evil wizard had just walked on set one day and started shooting lightning balls out of their hands, you'd be like, oh my god, that guy's a real wizard. When Jonah was able to easily switch between himself and the womanizing substance user he plays on screen, Martin should have called a psychiatrist to give this guy a good once-over. Number 5. His rapid change in weight. Many performers are able to shrink and grow seemingly at will. Look at Christian Bale. He has gained and lost weight over and over again for roles over the years, attributing the dramatic changes to a form of method acting, allowing him to literally embody his characters. Jonah is no stranger to this concept, as he was spotted over 100 pounds lighter in 21 Jump Street than he had previously been in the movie Moneyball. I guess when you're nominated for an Oscar, they give you some kind of a gym membership or something. We should look into that. While Jonah's rapid shrinking and growing isn't necessarily a red flag per se, we can't imagine that the rapid change is good for his body, and with the news of his possible toxic behavior, it appears that that change may have affected his mental health as well. In his most recent flick, You People, alongside comedy legend Eddie Murphy, Jonah appears to have returned to his larger build and returned to the realm of comedy. Now, I haven't personally seen the movie, but the reviews so far suggest that it may be one of those movies that you throw on in the background, you know, just kind of put it on while people are hanging out. Just not a good one. Number 4, his attitude on set. Jonah may have started his career as a comedy king, but his attitude on set is anything but fun. According to many directors over the years, Jonah is a very gifted actor, able to come to set prepared for work every day with no hesitation. The only overall problem seems to be his communication skills. Jonah is known to be a very quiet and reclusive man on set, apparently spending a majority of his time in trailers away from the cast and crew. He's also known to be rather quiet while being given directions or while waiting for a scene to be reset. Like, imagine being a PA on set, you're standing next to the guy from Superbad and he's just on his phone playing Candy Crush all day. People always say it's the quiet ones that you have to worry about, and it seems that his quiet time may have been spent contemplating the meaning of life and his role in it. Or he spends it making a mental list of all the things that his partner needs to do to please him in a relationship. That might be it too. Number 3, he turned down The Hangover. Arguably one of the funniest trilogies in recent history has been The Hangover Saga, a series of films following 3 friends trying to piece together the wild night they had before. They lose their friends on roofs, they steal monkeys, and Ken Jeong is in it, so you cannot go wrong. What many people may not know is that the role of Alan, played by Zach Galifianakis, was actually offered to Jonah Hill over 3 times before they just finally gave up. While there was no specific reason why he didn't want to participate in this, a low-budget flick called Cyrus was released not long after The Hangover started production. It seemed that Jonah wanted to work in a more serious role instead of participating in one of the highest-grossing comedy trilogies of all time. While Cyrus was an interesting movie, it follows Jonah playing the titular son, living with his mother, played by Marissa Tomei, who befriends and begins to date John C. Reilly. It's a great movie, but it's nowhere near the caliber of the Hangover series, so we just wonder how hard Jonah was kicking himself after that one. Number 2, he canned 23 Jump Street. Alright, this is an entry that actually hurts to talk about, so I just need a second because it would have been really cool if they had made it, okay? In 2012, Jonah and Channing Tatum starred in a comedy reboot of the classic crime series 21 Jump Street for a more modern audience. The film received massive success at the box office and was quickly picked up for the sequel treatment. The sequel ended up being one of those few examples in Hollywood history of a second movie being better than the first, which is why it was so surprising to hear that the planned threequel 23 Jump Street was canned by Sony Studios. The main reason being, well, it was just too ambitious for Jonah. You see, the third entry in the franchise was going to be a massive crossover between 2 Sony properties. Jonah and Channing were set to cross paths with Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith's characters from the Men in Black trilogy. The leaked script told the story of Jonah and Channing's characters investigating a new substance at a university, only to discover that the suppliers are extraterrestrials being hunted by the Men in Black. The idea of Jonah and Channing wearing that black suit and shades while holding comedically large it makes my soul sing with joy. A script was written, but ultimately the studio thought it just wouldn't make any money and end up being a massive misstep in the franchise. Apparently Jonah actually had something to do with this too. You see, while Channing was filled with excitement towards this project, Jonah felt that the entire thing was going to be one giant pain. His under-enthusiasm made the studio nervous to go forward with what would have been one of the best movies in the last 10 years. Instead, Sony decided to reboot the Men in Black franchise with Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth, and it's just bad. It's just really bad. And at number 1, everything about him. I know it's a bit of a cop-out to say that the biggest red flag is everything that Jonah Hill has done, but am I wrong? As mentioned on this list, this guy has shifted his weight up and down, he's ignored his cast and crew while on set, he's flippy-floppy all over the genre map, and he's been mentally manipulative towards the women in his life. Jonah was a light in the early days. People remember him bringing joy to the set and always being in a good mood. But as the years went by, things got worse and worse, to the point that he now just does his job, grabs his check, and moves on to the next project. Now that he's been outed as being a mentally manipulative man in his personal life, we can only imagine the slew of backlash and cancellation that Jonah is surely about to face.
Coming in at number 10 today, we have the mattress photo controversy. So Gucci is currently receiving backlash on social media from social media users for an ad campaign that was posted on December 19th starring Harry Styles. Since last week, the brand has continued to post photos of Styles on Instagram while they were promoting Gucci's Ha 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 campaign. In the ads, Harry could be seen posing with what appears to be a smaller sized mattress as he is dressed in a teddy bear, graphic tee, and trousers. While the campaign was first introduced back in November, Gucci is now facing criticism for the set props. With the props being a children's mattress, many people have been addressing their concerns, with one person saying, "Why is a toddler bed in this? Why the teddy bear t-shirt? What is the angle aside from Strange Things?" And a lot of people have been pointing out that the similarities that Gucci's campaign had are pretty similar to Balenciaga's campaign. That was embroiled just weeks before online after the campaign involved children holding French label teddy bears wearing some adult gear. With Balenciaga and Gucci being owned by the same company, the controversy wasn't really a shock to many. However, now it just proves that something concerning is going on with parent company Kering, as they keep bringing children into their campaigns under concerning circumstances. Though Gucci hasn't really spoken out about the ads yet, the campaign came to light under the director of Alessandro Michele, who since left the company after becoming the creative director back in 2015. Coming at number 9, the Vogue cover. So back in November 2020, Harry Styles would make history as he became the first non-female to have a solo cover in Vogue magazine in the 128 years it's been in print. For his cover shoot, Harry would end up being photographed by Tyler Mitchell. In the photos taken, it could be seen that Harry was wearing a variety of different dresses and brightly colored blouses. While many people praised Harry for breaking down gender norms, there was also a lot of people who criticized him for wearing such feminine pieces, including many conservatives like Candace Owens, who called his Vogue cover an outright attack on the manly men. While his fans and other celebrities came to his defense, like Jamila Jamil, she would even come out in a tweet to say Harry Styles is plenty manly because manly is whatever you want it to be, not what some insecure toxic woman hating D-heads decided it was 100 years ago. He's 104% perfect. Harry also spoke out about the backlash, telling Variety to not wear something because it's feminine clothing. You should shut out a whole world of great clothes, and I think what's exciting about right now is I can wear whatever I want to. It doesn't have to be X or Y. Those lines are becoming more blurred. However, even actor Billy Porter would criticize the cover by saying he felt disconnected from the opportunities for being a gay black man. Coming at number 8 today, we have the Harry House merchandise symbol. Since the release of his third studio album, Harry House, in May of 2022, fans have been eagerly waiting for Harry Styles to drop new merchandise. In August, when the new merchandise was finally announced, it would come with some serious backlash as fans would claim the two capital H's had some anti-Semitic roots, and the signs have been banned in various European countries. With Harry's symbol referencing a certain German symbol, as he would have his logos printed on hats, and he was selling them on tour. When Harry launched his second leg of his Love on tour, he would also release an array of new Harry House merch. And it was so popular, fans were even encouraged to visit the tour venues early to get their hands on it. However, when fans started to point out the Semitic symbol, Harry's team appeared to have responded to the backlash by replacing the hat with an amended version of it, with one fan tweeting, "I get it's supposed to stand for Harry House, but if I see someone walking around with HH on them, I'm gonna assume that it's not Harry Styles fans. I'm gonna assume that the HH means the same thing as 88. And another person even added, "Please take it out of the merch merch line because it's very triggering and hurtful, not towards Germans, but also especially towards Jewish people. Along with the hats, Harry also had a logo printed on his shirt and hoodies that were uploaded to his website where you could purchase them before his team decided to change the logo. And number 7, song plagiarism accusations. Throughout the history of music, from time to time, thousands of cases of plagiarism allegations have been reported. With new controversies arising around copyrights in different parts of the world, I don't think any of us were really shocked when fans in Argentina started targeting Harry Styles for plagiarizing his new single, As It Was. When the British artist shared on his social media a small preview of the song for a few seconds on December 13th, detailing the song that will be available on April 1st, instantly, Twitter started to claim that the preview of the song was identical to a song by an Argentina group, Miranda, called El Profe. A few hours later, the Latin American band would become a huge trend on Twitter, and when more tweets started to appear, they seemed to demand justice for the alleged creator for stealing a project from another music group. With his debut album, he also has been accused of using an identical guitar riff as the 1968 Beatles song Blackbird. But Harry tends to stay away from the attention. We definitely won't see him speak on this matter anytime soon unless it magically becomes a topic that truly matters to the star. Coming in number 6 today, we have ignored BLM sign. So back in 2017, after the release of his first solo album, Harry would embark on tour and he would start playing at a number of different shows. While he was acknowledging the LGBTQ flags and spoke out in support of women, fans would become slightly outraged when he chose to ignore the Black Lives Matter flags in the crowd. In a blog post written by Infinity, writer Victoria Monar would question why Styles had chosen to remain silent when it came to the Black Lives Matter issue and why he still hasn't used his massive platform to raise awareness for the issue. During a concert in London, audience members had been given signs that read Black Lives Matter, and one fan even ended up throwing their sign on the stage. Although Harry didn't pick up the sign or look at it, chose to completely ignore the flags and the signs, and he even proceeded to step on them on the stage. During an interview with New York Times, Style had even been asked if any outside chaos had influenced his solo album, referring to the issues of the Brexit, Black Lives Matter, and the American election at the time. Style would then go on to say, with a really vague answer, Sign of the Times had been looking at several different things. When he was asked what those kind of things were, he then told the interviewer everything you were talking about. At number 5, we have the Roy Moore joke. While guest hosting on the Late Late Show for James Corden back in 2017, Styles made a joke that didn't really go down quite as well with his fans that he thought it would, according to the Daily Mail. During his open monologue, Harry would even decide to make a joke about the Republican Senate, Roy Moore, who had just lost to a Democrat, Doug Jones, in Alabama, which is typically a state that tends to be a red state. Harry would then go on to say, if you're anything like me, the only thing that you and your friends are talking about at the moment is the Alabama state race. Many of you would think that I'm unfamiliar with Roy Moore for being a Brit. That is not true. I am very familiar with Roy Moore. I've had to throw him out of a dozen of my concerts. While the audience did have a good laugh at the joke, many fans on Twitter didn't share the same thought, with one user saying, "You think because he's Harry Styles he gets a pass, well sis he doesn't. You can keep screaming at the wall, but the rest of us will hold him accountable." Now, Harry has never issued an apology or acknowledging the joke after he received backlash for it, and you probably won't, especially since the controversy surrounding Roy Moore surrounds children. Coming at number 4 today, we have culture appropriation. Back when Harry was still in One Direction, he decided it would be a good idea to post a black and white photo of himself wearing a Native American headdress. With the photo receiving immediate backlash, a One Direction Twitter fan page called He's Problematic would be the first to comment on the photos after Harry uploaded them. The page would then say, Harry appropriated the Native American culture by posing in a native headdress and putting up a picture of himself in it on social media. People called him out for culture appropriation, but again, he never apologized for it. Now, it wasn't the first time that Harry has made some headlines about culture appropriation, as the page also called him out on retweeting pictures of himself in a digitalized blackface with other edits that mocked black culture. And just like the issue with the headdress, he never issued an apology, even though people called him out for it. I think it would be a great time to note that cultural appropriation is not nice regardless of the context or intent. So before you get braids or wear a headdress, maybe think about why these things are so sacred and why they hurt certain cultures, and admire them from afar and just leave it at that. After Harry's photos received a horrendous amount of backlash, he would take photos down and would proceed to stay quiet on the issue, as he has never issued an apology for his actions. And number 3, the Super Bowl announcement. So in 2020, Harry would announce that he would be performing at the Super Bowl event in Florida. According to the Metro, the announcement was immediately met with backlash. While many of Harry's fans urged the singer to pull out of the performance due to the NFL's racist past, especially with how they treated some former players, he ultimately decided to go ahead and perform at the NFL Pepsi Super Bowl party. With both the NFL and Pepsi being known for being racist, Harry's decision to perform at the event contradicts his claims to support Black Lives Matter, with his black fans requesting him to back out of the trend by creating a hashtag #HarryBackOut on Twitter. They would find themselves being ignored on social media, with the hashtag trending on social media. Many of Harry's fans would urge Harry to cancel his performance. While many people understood it might be hard for him not to perform due to his contractual agreement, they would encourage Harry to donate any money he made at the event to a Black Lives Matter organization, with one fan writing, "POC, fans have the right to feel valued and respected. And if they aren't, I understand that Harry can't back out. Because of a contract, but he can speak up more and he can donate to BLM or other causes." And while his fans made some amazing suggestions, Harry did not donate the money that he made at the event to any cause. Coming at number 2 today, we have Olivia Wilde. With 2022 being a big year for Harry Styles as he's been touring, the singer also got his break in acting as he had the chance to star in Don't Worry Darling and My Policeman. With both films releasing soon, none of us really know what to expect from the star, which makes the anticipation really high for these films. During an interview with Rolling Stone, Harry would extensively discuss his relationship with Olivia Wilde, which began after they met on the set of Don't Worry Darling. While Harry's fans tend to be really supportive of his new relationships, his relationship with Olivia is one his fans just can't get over, as they keep urging the star to leave her. With Olivia cheating on Jason Sudeikis to get with Harry Styles, there would soon be a lot of toxic negativity that started to surround Harry's relationship with Olivia. With having a 10-year age gap, fans would even start to make jokes and troll Olivia. Although she was a good sport when it came to the criticism, we all kept saying that there was something really off about her nice and friendly nature. And then the cast members of Don't Worry Darling started to speak up about how horrible she was to them on the set. And anyone who dates someone that horrible is known to be just as bad. And coming in at number 1 today, we have My Policeman. Harry Styles has been slammed by fans after making a comment that the film's deception of gay intimate scenes are usually 2 guys going at it. When the singer spoke to Rolling Stone about his new film, My Policeman, in which he plays a homosexual police officer hiding his sexuality in the 1950s, he would ignite some serious backlash when he spoke of his desire to express tenderness in the film's love scenes. Harry, who also detailed his refusal to confirm to a sexuality label to discuss his journey to figuring out his sexuality, said that the intimate scenes between the 2 men in the films is just them going at it, and it removes all the tenderness of love from it. Harry would then go on to know, "I would imagine that some people who watch it, who are very much alive during the time when it was illegal to be gay, and wanted to show that it is tender, loving, and sensitive." With one fan coming up to say, if he doesn't want to label himself, "I don't care, but he shouldn't be giving his opinion about a community that he doesn't even want to claim."
Number 10. Power dynamics. Workplace romances are never a good idea. Not only does it have the potential to get awkward if you break up, but you might have to take into account a power dynamic as well. Ned was the executive producer of the Try Guys. The 35-year-old comedian and author founded the group in 2014 while working for BuzzFeed, which turned out to be YouTube gold, and they now have almost 8 million followers on their channel. Alex Herring, on the other hand, worked under Ned as the associate producer. And over the years, she has been featured in many of their YouTube videos, probably because their workplace is so small. So naturally, the employees would become relatively close with each other over time. But that doesn't change the fact that Ned was still Alex's boss, and even if the two of them weren't cheating on their respective partners, their relationship would still be unethical because of their positions in the company. If you're loving this video so far, please hit that like button, it would really help us out. Number 9, flaunting his affair. Although Ned and Alex did a fair amount of sneaking around, and who knows how long for, they didn't really try to hide the fact that they were seeing each other when they went into a club in New York. It was a Reddit user who goes by the name of Hamilton390 who claimed that they saw the two of them kissing on the dance floor. They wrote, "So basically I went out to a Niagara club last night and saw her making out with Ned from the Try Guys. I have videos if needed. She was wearing a red dress, I don't know if that helps." The user also claimed that they talked to Ariel for an hour about the situation. Fans also saw that many of the Try Guys' employees, including Keith, Zach, and Eugene, unfollowed Alex and Ned on social media. Fellow Food Baby and Try Guys senior editor YB Chang also unfollowed them. Alex's fiance Will unfollowed her and removed all pictures of them together on his Instagram and made his account private. So pretty soon the picture became crystal clear. Number 8, female audience. If you've watched any of the Try Guys' videos, references to Ned's wife abounded from the beginning. In fact, just the way he says "my wife" has earned catchphrase status and inspired countless compilation videos and even official Try Guys merchandise, including a figurine with a plastic Ned that repeats the phrase "my wife" at the press of a button. People feel that they demonstrate examples of good, non-toxic masculinity, and the connection that the audience feels to these men is very real. In fact, of the more than 8 million subscribers to the Try Guys YouTube channel, the vast majority of the audience is women, nearly 80%. The age demographic is young, particularly women in their late teens and early 20s. Having a large female audience is not a red flag in and of itself, but it goes to show you that there was always a performative aspect to Ned's feminism, and that was the whole reason why he had a fan base at all. So by betraying their image of him, he literally has nothing left. Number 7, his apology. Just 2 days after the news broke out, the Try Guys announced on Instagram that Ned had been fired. The official statement said, "Ned Fulmer is no longer working for the Try Guys. As a result of an internal review, we do not see a path forward together. We thank you for your support as we navigate through this change." After the post, Ned took to his own Instagram, confirming that he had cheated on his wife. He said, "Family should have always been my priority, but I lost focus and had a consensual workplace relationship. I'm sorry for any pain that my actions may have caused to the guys and the fans, but most of all to Ariel. The only thing that matters right now is my marriage and my children, and that's where I'm going to focus my attention." The way his so-called apology was worded is extremely telling, because he was clearly just trying to make it sound better than it actually was. I'm sure Ariel did not consent to their relationship, so there was no point putting that last part in there. Number 6, Try Guys' reaction. Keith, Zach, and Eugene had to act quickly when Ned's character as a devoted husband and father fell apart and breached an essential contract with the audience. Despite the fact that they've known each other for years and built a successful brand together, the rest of the Try Guys literally wasted no time in cutting ties with their friend and released a statement just 2 days after the news broke out. On their official Instagram page, they stated that Ned had been fired. Quote, "Ned Fulmer is no longer working for the Try Guys. As a result of an internal review, we do not see a path forward together. We thank you for your support as we navigate through this change." The action was so swift that it surprised a lot of people, but judging by how quick it was, it seems likely that they all knew what was going on, given that it was such a small workplace. But it remains to be seen how this scandal will affect their primary channel and the other people tangled up in the mess of it all. Number 5, wife guy facade. If anyone is wondering why Ned's infidelity is particularly egregious news, even the most casual fans of the Try Guys know that Ned Fulmer, who is one of the show's 4 stars, is an official wife guy. It's literally his whole brand. In almost every video, he would gush over his wife and play the part of an adoring husband so well that he was able to monetize it. The man even co-authored a cookbook with his wife titled The Date Night Cookbook. Ned and Ariel have 2 children together and both host a parenting podcast called Baby Steps. So from the outside, it really seems like they have it all. For Gen Z, the media circus surrounding the scandal is something akin to the cheating claims against John Mulaney, who allegedly cheated on his ex-wife and impregnated Olivia Munn almost immediately after exiting rehab in 2021. Prior to their respective cheating controversies, both guys were decently liked men who branded themselves as uber-devoted husbands, and that's what makes this story so much worse. Number 4, sneaking around. So when did people start to suspect that Ned was cheating? The internet conjured up some theories as to why the content creator was not involved in some of their videos for the last couple of weeks. weeks. In late September, the tweet that prefaced the drama wrote, "Fans began noticing that Ned was not present in some of the recent Try Guys' projects. Ned does not appear in the past 3 videos or intros. He also was not in the past 3 podcast episodes." As a main producer and one of the faces of the company, fans found this extremely worrying, so they started to become more vigilant of his appearances in the Try Guys videos. It was also very suspicious that Ned and Alex were seen in an Instagram photo promoting Keith's new Eat the Menu series, but they were not seen in the final cut of the video. So Ned had essentially been absent quite a bit in the last couple of weeks, but he obviously didn't think anyone would pick up on it. Number 3, Alex Herring. If Ned cheating on Ariel was not bad enough, it turns out that Alex Herring, the woman he was seeing, was also engaged to her fiance Will Thayer at the time. The couple have been together for more than a decade. So this story is full of betrayal no matter which way you look at it. According to her Instagram, AA Herring, Alex has been dating Will since 2011, when she posted a photo of them with face masks on with the caption, "Cleansing our pores." They met at university and celebrated their 5-year anniversary at Disneyland in June of 2016. At the time of Alex and Ned's cheating scandal, Alex and Will were engaged and together for 11 years. As of today, he has now unfollowed Alex on Instagram, as well as removed all their photos together and made his account private. He's obviously heartbroken, so the worst part is that the affair has ruined 2 relationships, not just one. Number 2, Ned's wife. Ned's wife, Ariel Fulmer, recently released a statement addressing the scandal. She said, "Thanks to everyone who has reached out to me, it means a lot. Nothing is more important to me and Ned than our family. And all we request right now is that you respect our privacy for the sake of our kids. Cheating on anyone is bad, but there's a reason that fans felt especially betrayed when it came out that Ariel Fulmer was the one being wronged. She won over audiences everywhere despite only appearing briefly in a few of the Try Guys' videos. Although she's married to a well-known YouTuber, Ariel prefers to keep her personal life private and is generally the more reserved one in the relationship. She's an interior designer, stylist, author, and host of the podcast You Can Sit With Us. Although Ariel has said that she doesn't want herself or her children to be on the internet as much, Ned has regularly posted pictures of their young sons online and regularly shared updates about their family life. So if anything, this scandal has just pushed her even more into the public eye. And coming in at number 1, BuzzFeed reaction. They say that no one knows you better than your co-workers, and in Ned's case, that might be true as well. Former BuzzFeed alum Devin Lytle tweeted, "2022, the year we realized that wife guys are still guys." Jasmine Robbins posted a cryptic meme with Kermit the Frog and wrote, "Y'all shocked?" So she made it seem like the affair between Ned and Alex was something of an open secret back when they both worked at BuzzFeed. One Twitter user responded by saying, "Makes me feel like Ned had wandering eyes for a long time. Maybe that's why he made I love my wife his thing, to overcompensate. Couples who always flaunt how happy they are and in love they are usually have something to prove. It was right in front of us the whole time, I guess." So it's entirely possible that Ned's on-camera nice guy persona was exactly that, just a persona, and that behind the scenes he had no issues cheating on Ariel, as long as he never got caught. Number 10, the CinemaCon incident. As Olivia was presenting at CinemaCon and promoting her new movie Don't Worry Darling, a woman from the audience approached her while she was still on stage and handed her a yellow envelope, which read "Personal and Confidential." The whole thing was caught on camera, and as the actress opened the envelope, she found out it was custody papers from her former partner Jason Sudeikis. After a brief moment of shock, she decided to continue on with her presentation, but later decided to accuse her ex of maliciously planning the incident. She told Variety, "In any other workplace, it would be seen as an attack. I hated that this nastiness distracted from the work of so many different people, and that the studio that I was up there representing, and to try and sabotage that was really vicious. But you know, sadly, it was not something that was entirely surprising to me. I mean, there's a reason I left that relationship, but the truth is that Jason was not able to choose the time or the place that the papers were served. So Olivia claiming that he was trying to sabotage her moment was completely untrue." If you're loving this video so far, please hit that like button, it would really help us out. Number 9, Harry Styles' relationship. If there's one thing that the internet loves to do right now, it's tear down the romance between Olivia Wilde and Harry Styles. The couple met on the set of the movie Don't Worry Darling, which Olivia directed. He joined the cast in the fall of 2020, and by January 2021, the duo was spotted holding hands at a wedding, which naturally caused everyone to lose their mind. There has also been a lot of valid criticism directed at the couple, with some people questioning the timeline of their relationship, and they felt that Olivia moved on just too quickly after breaking up with her ex Jason Sudeikis. Former couple called off their 7-year engagement in November last year, and they shared 2 kids together. But most of the hate is due to the fact fact that she's 10 years older than Harry, which gets brought up a lot when we see that an older woman is dating a younger man, but often it's not the other way around. They are also mad that she is in a position of power over him as she directed the movie that he was starring in. So in a way, their whole relationship is a huge red flag. Number 8, queer phobia. Olivia Wilde has faced huge backlash after alleged homophobic comments she made in previous interviews resurfaced online. The 38-year-old actress has been slammed by the LGBTQ+ community for comparing changing roles in her career to that of someone who was making a life-changing decision about sexuality. In the interview, she was talking about what it was like going from being an actress to being a director, and she said it felt like coming out of the closet. She angered that same community again on another occasion when she said that before she met Jason Sudeikis in 2011, she considered having a soft kind of lesbian relationship. Although it's totally fine to question your sexuality, people were mainly upset that Olivia claimed to have considered becoming gay just because she was lonely, which feeds into the stereotype that women only get into queer relationships because they don't seem to have any men in their life. Number 7, Shia LaBeouf comments. The actor was initially cast as Jack in Don't Worry Darling. However, pretty soon news broke in September of 2020 that Olivia had replaced him with Harry Styles. But the story that she began circulating was a little strange. She alleged that she fired Shia due to a no a-hole policy that she had while directing. She told Variety, "Shia's process was not conducive to the ethos that I demand in my productions. He has a process that in some ways seems to require a combative energy, and I don't personally believe that it is conducive to the best performances. Ultimately, my responsibility is to the production and to the cast to protect them." Just by her choice of words, Olivia made it sound as though he was a danger to the cast and crew, and that she had to fire him in order to protect everyone on set. This would have been easy for her to say, considering that Shia is being plagued by accusations of domestic violence at the moment, but in this instance, it was a blatant lie. Number 6, Kiki Lane. When it comes to the widely publicized drama surrounding Don't Worry Darling, there is new information being spilled every day. Kiki Lane and Ariel Stachel are now speaking out about how they were cut from most of the movie. They played the characters Margaret and Ted Watkins. Margaret serves as Alice's close friend and helps the protagonist in solving the mystery behind the Victory Project. The actress recently posted a video and 2 sweet images of the on-screen couple from the movie set on Instagram, but it was her caption that got everyone talking. She wrote, "The best thing about Don't Worry Darling is that I am lucky enough to meet Ariel Stachel. They cut us from most of the movie, but we're thriving in real life." When her Instagram post blew up, the outrage also grew. And one user commented, "Olivia Wilde cut a majority of the only POC characters out of her movie, marketed as a movie showcasing female pleasure, when it was only about women being literally entrapped without their consent. And you still want to defend her?" Number 5, leaked video. In response to Olivia's comments, Shia publicly exposed the truth behind his leaving of the project. And in the biggest revenge move ever, he emailed both Olivia and Variety magazine, saying, "You and I both know the reasons for my exit. I quit your film because your actors and I couldn't find the time to rehearse. Firing me never took place, Olivia. And while I fully understand the attractiveness of pushing that story because of the current social landscape, the social currency that brings, it is not the truth. So I am humbly asking, as the person with an eye toward making things right, that you correct the narrative as best as you can." Shia then leaked a video of Olivia practically begging him to stay in the film and making it seem like Florence Pugh was the only one who didn't want him there. In the clip, she tells Shia that she is not ready to give up on the possibility of him working in the film, saying, "The fact that you're leaving might be a bit of a wake-up call to Miss Flo." That video went viral and the result was utter chaos. Number 4, underpaying Florence. Early into the production of the movie, there were reports that Harry earned triple his co-star's salary, despite Florence being the film's leading lady. In early August, Showbiz Galore reported that she only took home $700,000 for her role as Alice, which sounds like a lot, but Harry was reported to be paid $3 million to play the supporting role of Jack, her husband, which if true would also be even more than the other notable co-stars in the film, like Chris Pine, who reportedly only made $600,000. But Olivia refuted the allegations and told Variety there is absolutely no validity to those claims. There has been a lot out there and I largely don't pay attention to it. She went on to call the pay disparity non-existent and said, "I'm a woman who has been in this business business for over 20 years, and it's something that I have fought for myself and others, especially being a director. It's no secret that it's been an ongoing battle for men and women to have the same pay for film projects that they do together, so it's understandable that fans were fuming at the possibility that Florence was actually underpaid. Number 3, rude jokes. In March of 2011, after 8 years of marriage, Olivia filed for divorce from her first husband, Italian Prince Tal Ruspoli. While he was heartbroken after the split, it seemed like the actress was more focused on publicly humiliating her ex. In 2020, at an event hosted by Glamour magazine, she discussed trying to fake happiness with her ex-husband towards the end of her marriage. In fact, she aired out all their dirty laundry and even talked about how bad their sex life was. Quote, "I felt like my died, turned off, lights out. You can lie to your relatives at Christmas dinner and tell them everything on the home front is just peachy, but you cannot lie to your..." It really sounded like that was her attempt at a sex joke, but it wasn't great considering that it sounded like she just wanted to get up on stage and say that Tal was bad in bed. Even if she was joking, many people would agree that the whole thing was done in bad taste. Number 2, Richard Jewell. When the 2019 film came out, it was steeped in controversy, mostly because of Olivia's portrayal of real-life journalist Kathy Scruggs. The real Kathy, who died in 2001, was working at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution when she broke a story that the FBI was investigating the security guard Richard Jewell for the in Centennial Olympic Park during the 1996 Olympics. But the issue with the movie was that it depicted the iconic female journalist as having traded sex for information, which was particularly offensive considering the fact that there was no evidence that the real Kathy Scruggs ever did that, and even many of her past colleagues ended up coming forward and condemning the movie. In general, Olivia didn't seem to see a problem with it and actually made several statements defending the movie, but audiences found her character to be sexist, demeaning, and an outright insulting trope imposed on women. This led to a boycott of the film, as a lot of people in the journalism industry were up in arms over the portrayal. And coming in at number 1, the premiere. While Florence Pugh did not end up walking the red carpet, the internet could literally not get over how distant she was from Olivia the whole time. The 26-year-old was obviously giving her the cold shoulder, which comes as no surprise following all the rumors of tension between the two actresses. Not only that, but the weird vibes continued into the screening, where Florence and Olivia had to be seated 3 people apart. According to multiple eyewitnesses inside the screening, the actresses maintained their cold demeanors towards each other, and Florence even turned away from her when she started crying during the standing ovation. While yes, she did walk the festival's red carpet with the rest of the cast, she only posed for group shots, and the 2 women were not photographed together alone at all. And Florence didn't even pose for pictures with Harry either. So as much as Olivia loves to deny it, it's clear that there is still some deep resentment between them, and it would be very unlikely that they ever work together again in the future.
At number 10, we have Tom's accusations of forcing Scientologists to do grueling labor work for him. Over the past decade, numerous ex-members belonging to the Church of Scientology have stepped forward to point blame at the church for gross misconduct alongside several other allegations, and it seems Tom centers around the negativity. Former Inspector General Mark Rathburn once told R Online in 2011 that he obtains secret emails which proved that Scientologists were laboriously forced to build a luxury bus to gift to Tom. In 2013, 15 ex-Scientologists also claimed Tom took reoccurring advantage of members while only paying them $1 per hour to complete endless jobs. Reports of their leader ordering them included completing the renovation of his home in Beverly Hills in 2004, overseeing the construction of a large custom motorhome for crews over a 5-month period, and assisting in the customization and construction of a special limousine for Tom Cruise. Former COS high ranker Amy Scooby once described having to locate Scientologists for Tom Cruise's household to cover the positions of nanny, cook, and maid. Reported documents allege that anyone who did not meet the requirements of their orders faced inhumane punishments. What are your thoughts on Tom Cruise's 10th red flag? Tell us in the comments below. At number 9, we have his apparent comparison of acting to fighting in Afghanistan. According to the reported deposition from 2013, during his $50 million lawsuit against Bauer Media, the actor supposedly informed the court that on-location filming was just as taxing as serving a tour of duty. The lawyer of the opposite legal team had brought up his absence from Surrey, which publicly equated it for these extended periods of time as being analogous to someone fighting in Afghanistan. Are you aware of that? Tom reportedly responded with, "Didn't hear the Afghanistan, but that's what it feels like, and certainly on this last movie, it was brutal." The press was instant on this headliner, and Tom's lawyer Burt Fields attempted to set the record straight by claiming Tom's remarks were taken entirely out of context. Burt further slammed the assertions that Tom Cruise likened making a movie to being at war in Afghanistan is a gross distortion of the record. What Tom said laughingly was that sometimes that's what it feels like. At number 8 we have Tom's divorce strategy. Tom has gone through 3 marriages so far, all ending in messy headlines and he said she said. However, it's been reported that there is much more in common with his 4 marriages than the fact that they just ended. Apparently there's a pattern shadowing the actor in every one of his splits with his ex-wives, Mimi Rogers, Nicole Kidman, and Katie Holmes. According to reports, all 3 ladies were the exact same age when they filed for divorce, as well as each of them is 11 years younger than the last. Many have chalked this scenario up as a coincidence that he ended his marriage with them at the specific age of 33. However, others have noted that 33 is indeed a significant number for Tom's Church of Scientology. NY Daily News once reported, quote, "The original membership organization for the controversial religious group, the Hubbard Association of Scientologists, was founded in Phoenix, Arizona, which lies on the 33rd parallel." Outside of this theory though, there have been other simpler suggestions for this pattern, which is that Tom just has a preference for dating women under 33 and sticks to that no matter what. Regardless, it could be anything really. At number 7 we have Tom being accused of brainwashing his eldest younglings. While Nicole and Tom were still together, they adopted 2 kids named Isabella and Connor. However, once they split, it was stated that Tom did his very best to convince them that they needed to cut their mom out of their lives. This shocking allegation came from former Scientologist Sam Domingo in 2019 when Sam told R Online Tom made the decision to disconnect from Nicole and have his children disconnect. Sam claimed Isabella and Connor were forced into Scientology school and the removal of their mother. Furthermore, Sam went on to add that they were brainwashed by growing up without choices and that they are most notably being used as leverage for the church, and it's not right. Since this, Connor has reportedly been formulated into becoming the quote perfect Scientologist and remains under constant supervision as per the church-owned hotel surveillance. Isabella, on the other hand, started a promotional video for the church's London branch, which encouraged members to intern as auditors, where Isabella described how she felt the training was incredible and thanked her dad for everything. At number 6 we have Tom's toxic Mission Impossible 7 rant. His viral spiel during unprecedented times for the film industry reportedly resulted in a handful of crew members quitting. While the question of when filming for this movie will finally end has been up in the air for movie enjoyers since production halted during the prime time of the worldwide health policies, apparently Tom cost the team a lot more than monetary value can replace. While resuming shooting for the high-budget project, Tom famously scolded 2 crew members who allegedly failed to stick to official guidelines. Following this, reports detailed that 5 team members stepped down. The Sun described the December 14th occurrence, which faced obvious backlash. A source dished to the publication, "The first outburst was big, but things haven't calmed since. Tension has been building for months, and this was the final straw. There's been more anger and several staff have walked, but Tom just can't take anymore after all the lengths they've gone through just to keep filming. He's upset others aren't taking it as seriously as him. In the end, he's the one who carries the can." At number 5 we have Tom Cruise reportedly leaving his daughter Suri Cruise behind. Tom wants absolutely no one to think he just left his youngest daughter hanging to dry. However, this is exactly what several stories are claiming over the past couple of years. In 2012, Tom filed his lawsuit against Bauer Media for their articles, which appeared in Life and Style and In Touch, with claims that he turned his back on his daughter. However, he was later forced to admit in his deposition the following year that he hadn't seen Suri for an extended period of time because of his work. In 2012, it was marked at 100 days since he last saw her, and by 2016, In Touch had reports detailing over 1,000 days. A source informed the magazine that Tom, quote, uses his film commitments as an excuse, but the truth is that doesn't hold much weight with Suri anymore. The source added Tom's connection to Scientology with this, and their disconnection policy as well. Quote, he's disconnected from Suri because of her connection to Katie. He hasn't seen her since she was 7. At number 4, we have Tom punishing Scientologists. According to rumors stemming from former devoted member Leah Remini, who dished it all in her 2013 published piece, Troublemakers Surviving Hollywood and Scientology, there are a number of horror stories about their most famous member during Leah's time there. In November 2018, Leah described to the Daily Beast that Scientologists are told that Tom Cruise is saving the world single-handedly, so he is considered a deity within Scientology. Leah further alleged that Tom is scarily aware of what takes place in Scientology, as he has reportedly been a part of it all. Leah added that she's previously been told by a senior executive of Scientology who was there that David constantly threatened their staff with bringing Tom Cruise to Gold Base. Aside from this, Leah also described to the outlet that there was a time when Tom personally punished a high-ranking member under David's orders. Of course, the COS rapidly shut down these allegations, telling ET Canada the interview is a PR stunt to promote her fake reality TV show. Remini has gone out of her way to manufacture hate and instigate harm toward innocent people. At number 3, we have Tom criticizing Brooke Shields' fight with postpartum depression. Back in 2005, Brooke showcased her mental health struggles through her Down Came the Rain, My Journey Through Postpartum Depression memoir. Her Get Real tell-all follows the arrival of her daughter Rowan back in 2003. Brooke was uber honest about her use of therapy and antidepressants to cope, and this seemed to press Tom greatly. At the time, the actor spoke with Access Hollywood about how he felt Brooke's positive spin on her use of antidepressants was irresponsible. He further went on to say, "When someone says medication has helped them, it is to cope. It didn't cure anything. There is no science. There's nothing that can cure them whatsoever. I care about Brooke because I think she is an incredibly talented woman, but look where her career has gone." However, Brooke was not here for any of that and slammed Tom back in a New York Times op-ed, writing, "Comments like those made by Tom Cruise are a disservice to mothers everywhere. If any good can come from Mr. Cruise's ridiculous rant, let's hope that it gives much needed attention to a serious disease." Brooke later also told People, Tom should stick to saving the world from aliens and let women who are experiencing postpartum depression decide what treatment options are best for them. At number 2, we have Tom's alleged ties to the COS auditioning wives for him. In between Nicole and Katie, apparently, the Church of Scientology attempted to scope out the ideal wife for the actor. At least that is according to a mind-boggling Vanity Fair report in 2012. The VF article suspected that Shelley, wife of leader David, was hand-selecting the perfect girlfriend for their star member. During 2004, there was a rumored audition that took place with actresses who were also a part of the COS, who were called into what they originally assumed was a training film audition. However, according to reports, the actors were supposedly asked questions about Tom, and then in October 2004, Homeland actress Nazini Bonayati was apparently chosen as the frontrunner. In line with the magazine, Nazini partook in daily audits over the course of a month and was forced to disclose every single detail about herself with nothing off limits. In November of that year, Nazini was eventually selected to go on a date with Tom, but she was reportedly told to break up with her boyfriend, remove her braces, and darken her hair first. According to sources, the actress also signed numerous confidentiality agreements, but the romance derailed in January 2005. Insiders claim Tom would report his live-in girlfriend to the staff of COS if he wasn't pleased with her actions. Resultantly, Tom apparently got someone to break up with her, with the explanation that the actor wanted someone with her own power, like Nicole. At number 1, we have Tom being the reason why his former divorces ended. Is Scientology to blame for the split from his ex-wives? A number of ex-Scientologists seem to think so. Previous high-ranking Scientologist Marty Rathburn alleged that his job was to facilitate the breakup with Nicole Kidman because she was a non-believer. In the 2015 documentary Going Clear: Scientology and the Prison to Believe. To corroborate these claims, Leah informed US Weekly that the Celebrity Center's senior vice president, quote, used confidential Scientology counseling sessions to bring a wedge between Tom and his wife Nicole because Nicole didn't want to do Scientology anymore, adding that through Marty Rathburn, he and David were able to get rid of Nicole to get Tom closer to Scientology. Tom and Nicole split back in 2001, and Nicole went viral during the finalization process when she exited her lawyer's office in unfiltered bliss. As for Katie, if we time jump to 2006, their marriage was officiated with David as Tom's best man. But in 2012, Tom made claims of being blindsided by Katie's decision to divorce and gain full custody of their daughter Suri. While the COS wasn't directly meddling at the time, it seems the practice was the official fallout between the former couple.
Let's talk about one of the most influential figures in media, Oprah Winfrey. We're gonna look at some red flags that perhaps we should have paid more attention to. While Oprah has certainly accomplished much in her career, like all of us, she is not without her flaws and controversies. So grab your popcorn and sit back and enjoy us as we explore the less known side of Oprah Winfrey's journey. Starting off with objectifying Cindy Crawford. Oprah Winfrey, the queen of talk shows, found herself in the middle of controversy for asking supermodel Cindy Crawford to stand up during an interview to show her body. It happened on the Oprah Winfrey Show, a platform known for its profound conversations. Oprah, always a straight shooter, asked Cindy to stand, catching the supermodel slightly slightly off guard. There was a mix of reactions with some viewers thinking it was completely normal given Cindy's status as a world-renowned supermodel, while others saw it as somewhat objectifying. In hindsight, the controversy invites a conversation about body image, respect, and the way we view celebrities. It's important to remember that even as we appreciate the beauty and talent of individuals, we should always strive to respect their comfort and consent. So what's your opinion on this controversial moment? Do you think Oprah was out of line, or was it just an innocent request in the context of the interview? Be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments section. Reflecting on the encounter 37 years later on Apple TV's The Supermodels, Cindy said, "I was like the chattel or a child, be seen and not heard. As an iconic supermodel who has graced countless magazine covers, walked down hundreds of runways, and fronted successful advertising campaigns, Cindy Crawford is not one to shy away from the fashion industry's dark side." In the latest Apple TV docuseries, she opens up about her early days as a model in New York City and how she felt pressured to conform to unrealistic beauty standards. Next, asking Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen what clothing size they wore. When Mary-Kate and Ashley appeared on the show in 2004, Oprah brought up rumors that they had eating disorders. After the 18-year-olds told her they tried not to read the good or the bad things people wrote about them, she asked what clothing sizes they wore. This just goes to show how early body image issues can start for young girls in the entertainment industry. Being in the spotlight at such a young age can lead to a warped perception of what is considered normal or acceptable. As they say, beauty comes in all shapes and sizes, but unfortunately, that message isn't always portrayed in Hollywood. The pressure to maintain a certain weight and appearance in the public eye can also lead to unhealthy behaviors and lifestyle choices. Eating disorders are a serious issue that can have long-lasting effects on an individual's physical and mental health. It's important for young girls in the entertainment industry to have a strong support system and to prioritize their health over societal expectations. But it's not just celebrities who face this pressure. With the rise of social media, everyone is now under constant scrutiny when it comes to their appearance. Asking Nathan Lane about his sexuality. During an interview with Oprah, the issue of Nathan's sexuality was raised given his role as an openly gay character in the movie. Being a private person, Nathan wasn't prepared to delve into this topic publicly at the time, but displaying his quick wit and camaraderie, Robin smoothly diverted the conversation by cracking a lighthearted joke. During the talk show, Robin showed his support for Nathan's character and shared how important representation is in the entertainment industry. He expressed his admiration for Nathan's talent as an actor and praised him for being brave enough to take on such a role. It was quick thinking on Robin's part, but this just goes to show the ignorance in Oprah's interview style. In a 2023 episode of Sunday Sit Down, Nathan expressed his feelings about his encounter with Oprah. He said, "I don't think Oprah was trying to out me, but I said to Robin beforehand, I'm not prepared. I'm so scared of going out there and talking to Oprah. I'm not prepared to discuss that I'm gay on national television. I'm not ready." And Robin said, "Oh, it's all right. Don't worry about it. We don't have to talk about it. We won't talk about it." Rest in peace, Robin Williams. The issue of representation in the entertainment industry is one that has been gaining more and more attention over the years. It's obvious that there is a need for diversity and inclusivity on screen. This also extends to the LGBTQ+ community, where representation has often been lacking or stereotyped. However, with the increasing demand for more diverse and authentic storytelling, we are seeing a positive change in the industry. Drew Brees' awkward moment. During a 2010 appearance on her show, Oprah made an amusing error when she encountered NFL quarterback Drew Brees. Oprah tried to wipe away a smudge on Drew Brees' face, thinking it was a lipstick stain, but oh wait, there's no lipstick. It's Brees' birthmark. Talk about a live TV moment. Brees handled the situation with grace and explained it to Oprah, who seemed genuinely surprised and quickly moved on with the interview. Personally, I think she shouldn't have even touched him without permission, but we can see this trend already where Oprah doesn't seem to have boundaries when it comes to the guests on her show. However, this incident highlights a bigger issue in our society, the pressure to conform to certain beauty standards. Brees' birthmark is a natural and unique part of his appearance, yet Oprah's immediate reaction was to try and remove it as if it were an imperfection. It's important for us all to learn from this mistake and recognize that everyone is beautiful in their own way, birthmarks and all. We should celebrate our differences and embrace them instead of trying to hide or change them. This also extends to other aspects of our appearance, such as skin color, body shape, and hair texture. Society often puts pressure on individuals to fit into a narrow definition of beauty, causing self-consciousness and insecurities. Prying on Elizabeth Taylor's life. In a classic moment from 1988, Elizabeth Taylor expertly sidestepped Oprah's probing questions regarding her rumored love interests. This amusing interaction saw Oprah playfully chiding Elizabeth for her evasive answers. But this moment also shed light on the many issues issues celebrities face, the constant scrutiny of their personal lives and relationships. As public figures, they are often subject to intense media attention and speculation surrounding their romantic partners. This intense focus on their love lives can take a toll on both their mental health and relationships. Many celebrities have spoken out about feeling like they constantly have to defend and explain their relationships to the public. This can lead to feelings of pressure, invasion of privacy, and even relationship strain. But celebrities aren't the only ones affected by this constant scrutiny. It also affects their partners, who often have to deal with being thrust into the spotlight without consent or choice. This lack of privacy can make it difficult for their partners to maintain a sense of normalcy and can strain the relationship. When Oprah and Elizabeth Taylor had playful banter about dating rumors surrounding the actress, Oprah was insistent on getting a straight answer from her guest, but Elizabeth playfully dodged her questions and kept the conversation lighthearted. This exchange between two powerful women in entertainment sheds light on the pressure celebrities face to constantly address things that's going on in their lives. It is a little exhausting, and I probably would hate that too. But despite their celebrity status, these women were able to have a playful and genuine interaction, showcasing the power of strong female friendships. Now on to the next. This might be one of the worst ones I've seen. Asking Michael Jackson invasive questions. In 1993, Oprah asked Michael Jackson if he was a virgin, then pressured him to answer when he tried to skirt around it. This moment on the Oprah Winfrey Show sparked controversy and backlash, as many viewers felt it was inappropriate to pry into the personal life of a celebrity. It also shed light on the double standards and intrusive nature of media interviews. The controversy surrounding Oprah's question to Michael Jackson illuminated the intrusive dynamics often present in celebrity interviews. Public figures, while certainly subjected to media scrutiny, still possess a right to personal privacy. This incident drew criticism as it seemed to cross boundaries of personal decency, delving into a topic that many believed should be considered private even for a public figure. The backlash demonstrated a growing public awareness and rejection of such invasive media tactics, thus further fueling discussions about the ethics of celebrity journalism. As an influential and popular talk show host, Oprah had a significant platform and could easily manipulate the direction of the conversation. Michael Jackson, on the other hand, was a guest on her show and may have felt compelled to answer personal questions in order to maintain a positive image or not offend his host. This power dynamic further highlighted the problematic nature of this particular interview and other similar incidents in the media. Inappropriate interview in front of kids. The Turtles were on stage, surrounded by a sea of ecstatic kids. Then Oprah, in her inimitable style, decided to stir the pot. She asked the Turtles a relationship question about their human friend April O'Neil, a relationship question to a bunch of mutant turtles in front of an audience of children. But let's get back to that question from Oprah. Why did she think it was acceptable to ask that in front of an audience filled with kids? Sounds irresponsible to me. Let's take a closer look at the situation. On one hand, it could be argued that Oprah was simply trying to have some fun and engage with the audience by asking a lighthearted question. After all, the turtles are fictional characters and therefore not subject to the same societal norms as real humans. On the other hand, we can see why some might find it inappropriate. The turtles are portrayed as young, impressionable heroes who are meant to be role models for children. Asking about their romantic relationships could potentially send mixed messages to young viewers. On to the next, asking Dolly Parton what she's gotten done. The legendary Dolly Parton, an icon known for her country music and vibrant persona, was a guest on the Oprah Winfrey Show. The interview was sailing smoothly until Oprah, with her trademark candor, ventured into a topic that celebrities often shy away from: cosmetic surgery. Yeah, you heard it right. Oprah asked Dolly Parton directly about her cosmetic surgeries, which felt a little out of place or even intrusive to some. And how did Dolly respond? With her signature humor and grace, of course. She openly admitted to having numerous surgeries but added a twist to it. Dolly joked that if she had the money to make herself look the way she wanted, why wouldn't she? Her honesty and confidence in her own choices was refreshing and empowering. On to the next, about Brad Pitt's tattoos. A 2008 interview with Brad Pitt and Cate Blanchett on the Oprah Winfrey Show. During the interview, a curious viewer called in to ask Brad about the meaning behind his tattoos, but here's the catch. Brad chose to remain tight-lipped about it. Brad shook his head with a smile. I don't really want to talk about them. Interestingly, Oprah didn't let it go just there. In her trademark style, she turned the question back to the fan, leading to a lively and intriguing conversation, completely disregarding the fact that Brad initially did not want to talk about them. Asking about Burt Reynolds' toupee. In a 2021 episode of Literally with Rob Lowe, Oprah admitted to making a significant error. She recalled asking Sally Field an impertinent question about whether her then partner Burt Reynolds slept with his toupee on. Following this, she described the actor's reaction as becoming distant and unresponsive. In the interview, Oprah shared how she regretted asking such a personal question and how it affected her relationship with Sally Field. This incident serves as a reminder that even influential figures like Oprah can make mistakes and should take responsibility for their actions. It also highlighted the importance of being respectful and considerate in interviews, especially when discussing sensitive or private topics.
Number 10. Unseasoned chicken. I dislike unseasoned food more than anyone, I think. Well, probably the same amount as any other person of color. Anyway, Oprah definitely feels the same way I do, because when a guest on her show presented her with a plate of beige, sad-looking food, she took a bite and immediately asked for extra salt and pepper to be added to this dish of food, to which the guest responded, "There is no salt and no pepper." Moment of silence here for the poor bird that died just to be cooked in such a disrespectful manner. Oprah was shocked. The audience was shocked. The dead bird on the plate was shocked. Everyone was shocked. I don't know how this lady thought it would be a good idea to feed a multi-millionaire, ultra-famous, hella influential black woman a plate of unseasoned chicken. Like, girl, go get some culture. Go taste some mashed potatoes that aren't made from powder, please. Number 9. Jay Leno. In a jaw-dropping interview on Oprah, Jay Leno unleashed a ton of confessions and excuses, revealing the messy reality behind his return to The Tonight Show, in which he was accused of having a part in the network's decision to reinstate him as The Tonight Show host while canning Conan O'Brien. Admitting to telling a white lie about retiring in 2004, Leno blamed the chaos on a multitude of factors, including being sucker punched by Jimmy Kimmel while he appeared on The Leno Show. Oprah, surprisingly unsympathetic, challenged Leno on his past jabs at fellow comedians, particularly Jimmy Kimmel's big jaw remark, which led to Leno hitting back at him with dark jabs at Letterman's unfaithfulness towards his wife. Leno defended his decision to accept the role on the show as an attempt to keep his staff employed. He acknowledged the show's failure but justified taking back his old job when offered. A surprising poll result from Oprah's audience revealed overwhelming support for Conan O'Brien in the midst of the mess. Leno's attempt to deflect blame onto NBC's handling of the situation took a dark turn, and the interview left viewers questioning Leno's actions and motives, making it clear that the fallout from this Oprah appearance would definitely linger. Number 8. Cindy Crawford. This American model and actress was a guest on the Oprah show in 1986 when Crawford was just 20 years old, alongside John Casablancas, who was her rep at Elite Modeling Agency at the time. In the resurfaced clip, Oprah asks Casablancas if Crawford has always had her body, before asking her to stand as she states, "Now this is what you call a body." Well, now the supermodel had appeared on the docu-series called The Supermodels, where she reflects on this moment, and she refers to herself as a child because she had not felt seen and not heard. Crawford admits she didn't notice it at the time, but now looking at it, Oprah does state, "Stand up and show us your body. Show us why you're worthy of being here," which made her uncomfortable as the model says this is not okay, especially from Oprah. As of now, Oprah hasn't commented on this situation, but many viewers have spoken up about this moment that was captured for television. Gig King was actually asked about this situation, where she admits she hasn't seen the clip but has heard about it, stating she felt disappointed and surprised in Oprah. However, there isn't any feud or anything between Oprah and Crawford, according to King. As she stated, "As far as I know, everything is good between Oprah and Cindy." What do you think about Oprah's requests to Crawford during that interview? Number 7. Elizabeth Taylor. In 1988, Elizabeth Taylor joined Oprah for an interview where she was questioned about her relationship and the myriad of dating rumors surrounding her at the time. Elizabeth didn't say much to answer these questions, as she likely wanted to keep personal information private, but Oprah wanted more. She began to reply sarcastically to Elizabeth by stating, "You're so revealing. You gotta stop talking so much, Miss Taylor," which then Elizabeth clapped back with, "This is what your friends wanted, right?" Which didn't seem to impress Oprah, as she then said, "I just want to know. Tell me so we can all go home. If you tell me, I'll go home." Prior to this interview, Elizabeth had actually given Oprah a heads up and told her to avoid questions about her relationship, but it didn't really seem like Oprah followed these requests, and she even came out to say that this interview was still painful to watch for many reasons, including her bad hair. I mean, especially with the heads up before the interview started, Oprah could have and definitely should have avoided this entire incident by simply following Taylor's requests. Number 6. Lance Armstrong. Cyclist Lance Armstrong tried to clear his name when he spoke to Winfrey about using performance-enhancing drugs. The host asked him several questions, including, "Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?" To which Armstrong quickly answered answered yes, admitting his wrongdoing and stating he would spend the rest of his life apologizing to people and trying to remedy the situation. The cyclist insisted that he was not doping when he returned in 2009, but the US Anti-Doping Agency CEO said Armstrong lied again. Also, anti-doping agency is kind of a crazy sentence and an even worse or better name. Despite Oprah's achievement in securing the interview, many spoke out about the flaws in the set and camera work as well as Armstrong's perceived lack of genuine remorse. Drawing comparisons to iconic TV confessions, the suggestion is made that Oprah could have taken a different approach to elicit more compelling responses from Armstrong. Many wonder if Armstrong would have agreed to the interview under a more critical stance, ultimately portraying Oprah as potentially too forgiving and going way too easy on the cyclist. Number 5. James Frey. In 2005, Oprah Winfrey's book club picked up the book from author James Frey, which was a memoir. Oprah spoke very highly of the book, giving it a glowing review, but after it was revealed that his memoir was actually comprised of mostly made-up stories, he went on Oprah's show to apologize and hopefully to clear his name. There he said, "I don't have a lot of respect for the genre," which, okay, pause, because why would you write a memoir then? It seems like you don't respect yourself at that point. He also claimed that he believed most people who wrote memoirs fabricated many of the stories within, so what he did wasn't that bad, I guess? He just got caught. I mean, like, if you're writing made-up stories, then you're just a fiction writer at that point. Time to release a dystopian series, James Frey, or wait, does he not respect that genre either? I guess he'd write fiction whether you respected it or not. Number 4. Lindsay Lohan. In the OWN docuseries featuring Lindsay Lohan titled Lindsay, Oprah Winfrey is seen urging Lohan to be truthful and cut out the nonsense in her quest for recovery. The unusual exchange raises concerns about the intertwining of Lohan's recovery process with the reality show format, seemingly unpacking her rehabilitation for public consumption and entertainment. This approach seemingly contradicts the principles of AA, which emphasizes private and anonymous recovery, and publicizing the struggle with addiction can hinder the chances of success. Many questioned Oprah's role in potentially exploiting Lohan's journey for the sake of entertainment, and noted the inherent risks of making the recovery process a public spectacle. While at the time this premise seemed to fit Lohan's dual goals of sobriety and making a comeback to the industry, many are still critical of Oprah to this day from seemingly exploiting Lindsay. Number 3. The Olsen sisters. They appeared in a 2004 interview with Oprah where they were confronted with rumors. At the time, the two sisters were 18 years old, and the rumors were regarding these girls and their eating habits. Oprah says, "I know a new rumor that's recently surfaced has really upset you, right? You know, the one about eating?" And the twins responded by saying, "Either you're too fat or you're too skinny. People are going to write what they want. We try not to read the good, the bad," and to that response it seems like they got the awkward question out of the way, right? Nope, because Oprah thought the appropriate follow-up question was, "What size are you, by the way?" And of course this clip resurfaced all over the internet in 2021, with many viewers feeling bad for the twins, especially because Oprah pointed that rumor out towards these young stars, which made some fans believe the twins were uncomfortable. Number 2. Sally Field. Oprah asked this actress an extremely uncomfortable and honestly inappropriate question regarding her former partner, Burt Reynolds, during a sit-down years ago. Winfrey asked Fields whether Burt slept with his toupee on or off, and for Fields' response, she went cold on Winfrey. Winfrey herself addressed this awkward interview back in 2021, where she revealed she now cringes at the thought of asking Fields that horrific and very surface-level kind of boring interview question. She also understands why Fields went cold following that question, but Oprah, as she said, knows she deserved it. Oprah does claim her producers said she had to ask Fields that question, which she did, and it caused Fields to completely shut off, and Oprah says they were both unable to get into the groove of the interview again. Number 1. Tom Cruise. This one was extremely popular and talked about. Though if we're being honest, I really don't see what all the fuss and uproar was about, but you know, whatever, it was early 2000s, I wasn't alive, whatever. This gets our first place spot due to the damage it was expected to do on the ultra-famous Tom Cruise's career. While appearing on Oprah's talk show, Tom Cruise began jumping up and down on the couch like an actual child, screaming that he was in love, and then air punching the floor, or something like that. I'm honestly not sure. Tell me what you think he's doing, please, because I don't know. Anyway, Oprah's reaction to this whole ordeal is what actually makes this entire thing so awkward. She looks at him like he is actually insane, like he's this weird creature, which I mean, fair, but it creates a very awkward air that surrounds the entirety of the interaction. After the incident, Tom Cruise faced a lot of backlash in the up and coming tabloid universe and displayed for the first time just how much power and influence tabloids are capable of wielding.
Number 10, underpaying celebrities. This past week on Instagram, Taraji P. Henson delivered a tearful interview that touched on her financial struggles and alluded to the fact that she was being underpaid. And all of this happened while she was promoting the new musical The Color Purple, which was produced by Oprah herself. During this interview, she expressed that she was tired of working hard and getting paid a fraction of what she deserved. In fact, at one point she said she was even contemplating leaving her acting career behind. She told the host that she hears people talk about how hard she works, but the math just isn't mathing. So there is an entire team of people above her that make the majority of the money in the film industry. She voiced her frustrations that every time she does something and breaks through another glass ceiling in Hollywood, when it comes time to negotiate, she is somehow at the bottom again, like she never did what she just did. So that wears on her mental health, because the question is, why? And what does it mean for her as an actor? Gabrielle Union was there and she backed up her claims, saying that there was not a word of a lie told by this woman. Viola Davis also reposted that clip to her Instagram, simply with the caption, "This," with a few hands pointing up. A little while back, Taraji was seriously considering leaving the US altogether and living in another country. Considering how stellar of an actor she is along with the rest of the cast, Hollywood really needs to get their act together and just pay their people. Number 9, blackballing. Now this story is crazy. The famous comedian Monique has spoken out about confronting Oprah Winfrey over an episode of her talk show that involved her estranged family in 2010. She accused Oprah, as well as filmmakers Lee Daniels and Tyler Perry, of blackballing her in the industry. So in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Monique recounted the strain in her relationship with Oprah because of the time that the talk show host welcomed her estranged family, including her eldest brother, onto the show in 2010. Following her Oscar win that year, Oprah informed Monique that her brother called her and wanted to be on the show to let parents know how they can watch out for creepy people. Apparently she said, "Do you want to come on the show? Because he wants to apologize to you." In response, she said, "Oprah, I don't want any part of that." While she gave her blessing to tape the show with her brother, she was horrified to see other family members like her parents and another one of her brothers downplay what actually happened to her. Number 8, dissing The View. While speaking on The View earlier this week, Oprah appeared to drop some major shade both towards the film The Color Purple and the people who were involved with The View. So the producers of The View were very upset that she would not be appearing alongside the cast of the film on one of their episodes. They were hoping to have a kind of reunion involving Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah, because as we know, they both starred in the 1985 version of The Color Purple. But that turned out to be a missed opportunity because Oprah did not appear on the program. The reason that The View was particularly annoyed with her absence is because she has been appearing on other talk shows to promote the film. She went on the Drew Barrymore Show and Sherry Shepherd's Sherry. So around the same time, she gave a candid interview with People magazine about her recent weight loss and how she was aided by medication. But back to The View, despite Oprah's absence, the episode was well received, and Whoopi said that she felt a strong connection with the people who did end up showing up. Number 7, that Drew Barrymore moment. It seems like Drew just cannot keep her hands to herself, and fans have become quite outraged at her behavior. The actress was blasted as cringy after uncomfortably caressing Oprah Winfrey on an episode of The Drew Barrymore Show. In the clip, the two of them were seen cozied up on the couch while talking about the importance of interacting with the studio audience. Drew tightly held onto Oprah's hand while running her other hand up and down her arm. She said, "Something that I learned about you, because I didn't know this in detail, was that you would spend time with the audience outside of the show you were filming." Oprah then seemed to be trying to get out of her grasp because she adjusted her seating position while answering that question. She said, "It is necessary. My crew used to be like, oh my god, how much time are you going to spend talking to the audience?" Drew then let go of her guest while she was preparing to ask something else. For her part, Oprah then started talking with her hands while applauding Drew for running the daytime talk show without an audience during the pandemic. Number 6, the NDAs. Confidentiality agreements are not uncommon in the world of Hollywood, as we know. In Kitty Kelly's tell-all book about Oprah, the author mentions the confidentiality agreements that co-workers and guest stars were made to sign. This included everyone from Tom Cruise to the person who made Tom Cruise's muffin. Over 500 staff members were forced to sign the document. Apparently, one former employee by the name of Elizabeth Cody tried to write a book about her time working for Oprah, but she was stopped by the courts because because she was still tied to the agreement that she signed. These NDAs were not meant to be a way just to keep the show secret safe, but any and all secrets that Oprah kept as well. According to Elizabeth, the documents were signed by almost everyone in her life. Now, she might have this brand of sweetness and kindness, but that is not exactly how she is. Elizabeth felt that she was in Oprah's pocket after she signed the paperwork. In 2010, a lawsuit was filed against Oprah and her company, Unearth Performance Training, claiming that they were being fired for violating the terms of her agreement, specifically involving the advertising with her name or the website of the show. Number 5, strange beliefs. Oprah has had plenty of controversial people on her show, from the so-called medical experts to psychologists and even celebrities. But one particular incident that caused a lot of backlash for her was when she did an interview with Suzanne Summers. She was brought onto the show to share her beauty secrets about how she was able to look so young. According to Summers, this treatment that she does on a regular basis will help, and she claims that she rubs estrogen cream into her skin on one arm and smears progesterone in her other arm. She also claimed that she took 60 supplements and vitamins a day, 40 in the morning and 20 before bed. What really stirred the pot was that this woman claimed to be a health expert and a self-help author, but surprisingly, she was not. Medical experts started bashing Oprah, claiming that this type of extreme hormone therapy would actually be the cause of several diseases and illnesses, potentially even cancer. Despite Suzanne's claim that her specially made, non-FDA approved bioidenticals are natural and are safe, they are actually just synthetic, conventional hormones that you could buy from a pharmacy. So Oprah did everything in her power to sell this idea to her audience, believing 100% that the methods were useful, even claiming to have used these methods to make her feel incredible. This person would rather risk her audience potentially getting cancer than just tell them the truth. Number 4, the car situation. So everyone knows Oprah's famous words, "You get a car and you get a car and everyone gets a car." This was a historical moment of her series, and it was parodied time and time again. In fact, it is still memed to this day. However, what many people don't know is that when someone gives out anything on television, there is always a catch. Of course there is. For Oprah's audience, the catch was that if they wanted to drive away in their brand new car, they would have to pay over $7,000 in taxes first. While Oprah's studio would cover the sales tax and the registration for each car, their audience members were given a choice to either pay the $7,000 or simply take the cash instead. The infamous moment on the show featured 11 real teachers who were, according to Oprah, in desperate need of a new car. They, along with the audience, received keys in a box that was all caught on camera that Oprah claimed to be there for the new car. But of course, everything has a catch. For someone who was known as being charitable and generous, the word free clearly means something completely different to Oprah. Number 3, fake memoir. Oprah launched her book club in 1996 and had a reading encouragement segment on her talk show where she talked about any book that she chose into a bestseller. In September of 2005, Oprah picked A Million Little Pieces, a brutal and painful memoir by James Brett about his years-long struggle with substance issues. A Million Little Pieces became the best-selling non-fiction book of the year, and Frey was asked to appear on her talk show to discuss the book that Oprah called gut-wrenching. But the following year, a news outlet ran an explosive article about Frey after it was discovered that he had either made up or juiced large portions of his memoir. For example, there is a section of the book that tells a story of Frey surviving a fatal train crash that took the lives of 2 teenagers. But it turned out that he was never on that train, nor did he have any involvement in that situation. Weeks after the article broke, Oprah asked Frey to return to the show, where he faced livid viewers and an even more livid Oprah. She told James that she felt duped and betrayed, a feeling that was shared by her audience and millions of readers around the world. She asked James why he felt the need to lie to herself and her readers, and he tried everything, making every excuse in the world. He claimed that he altered a lot of details, but that the overall plot was still real. The studio audience then responded with a massive wave of boos, gasps, and groans. Winfrey later apologized for the mistreatment from her audience, as it was not her intention. But by that point, the damage was already done. Number Number 2, Whoopi Goldberg. In author Kitty Kelly's unauthorized Oprah biography, Kelly claims that Whoopi Goldberg became a persona non grata, aka unwelcome to Oprah, after Whoopi was nominated for an Oscar for her role in The Color Purple. The book noted that following the honor, the comedian never appears on Oprah's show again, and was noticeably shunned from her 2006 Legends Ball. It wasn't until Oprah invited the entire cast of The Color Purple onto the show that the so-called feud was addressed. It turned out that Oprah had actually ran into Whoopi at Tyler Perry's party sometime after the 2006 snub, and Whoopi confronted her, leading to an adorable moment between them. She asked Oprah why she was mad, to which Oprah replied, "Why am I mad at you? I thought you were mad at me." And after this, they mutually agreed that they really should have just picked up the phone a long time ago and settled the dispute. And coming in at number 1, Cindy Crawford. The model and actress called out Oprah over her 1986 interview that took place on her talk show, where Oprah asked the then 20-year-old to expose herself to the crowd. Cindy reflected on the interview in a new documentary called The Supermodels on Apple TV+. This documentary spotlights the careers of several models like Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, and of course Cindy Crawford. So in a clip from the documentary, Oprah is heard introducing the then aspiring supermodel to the Oprah Winfrey Show before she asked, "Did she always have this body? This is unbelievable. Stand up. Now that is what I call a body." At this point, Cindy is visibly uncomfortable, and then she stands up before the studio audience cheered and showed off her figure. According to Cindy, she felt like a child in that moment being told what to do. She felt that the moment was more of a show us why you're worthy of being here type of situation. At the time, this was just some weird thing that Oprah asked her to do, but eventually it morphed and mutated into one of the most uncomfortable moments of her early years in modeling. The most shocking thing for her was the fact that this was Oprah Winfrey trying to tell her what to do. The woman who was supposedly known for her kindness and generosity also made her feel like a puppet.
Number 10, the NDAs. Confidentiality agreements are not uncommon in the world of Hollywood. Marvel will literally have someone take you out even if a single line leaks to the public. In Kitty Kelly's tell-all book about Oprah, the author mentions the confidentiality agreements that co-workers and guest stars are made to sign. This included everyone from Tom Cruise to the person who made his muffins. Over 500 staff members were forced to sign this document, and one former employee, Elizabeth Cody, tried to write a book about her time working for Oprah, but she was apparently stopped by the courts, still being tied to the agreement that she had signed. The NDAs were not meant to be a way to just keep show secrets safe, but any and all of Oprah's secrets as well. According to Elizabeth, the documents were signed by almost everyone in her life. She may have this brand of sweetness and kindness, but that is not how she is. Elizabeth felt that she was in Oprah's pocket after she signed the paperwork. In 2010, a lawsuit was filed against Oprah, and her company, Unearth Performance Training, claimed that they were fired for violating the terms of her agreement, specifically involving advertising with her name or the website or the show. Number 9, a diva. On air, Oprah is portrayed as a wholesome, sweet lady, but according to her stepmom, there is an unknown side to this woman. Hidden from fans for years, according to Barbara, Oprah is one of the most controlling people you'll ever meet. She claims that Oprah would not allow them to stay at her house when they tried to visit, forcing them to stay in hotels with money out of their own pockets. Barbara also said that Oprah was quick to anger when it came to her staff, with several people being fired left and right over the years, but that's not all. Despite being a billionaire, Barbara allows her to stay at her home for visits, something that Oprah apparently hates. The first time she stayed over, Oprah allegedly complained that her bed sheets were not 1,000 threads and her bath towel wasn't big enough. I get the bath towel thing, big bath towels for the win, never going back. This woman has billions of dollars to do literally anything she wants, and what she wants to do apparently is just make her stepmom's life a living hell. Number 8, controversial beliefs. Oprah has had plenty of controversial people on her show, from medical experts, fake psychologists, to celebrities. Whatever's good for TV is good for Oprah, but one particular incident that caused a ton of backlash for Oprah was when she did an interview with Suzanne Summers. She was brought onto the show to share her beauty secrets and how she was able to look so young. Well, according to some, this treatment that she does on a regular basis will help. Suzanne claimed that she rubs estrogen cream into her skin on one arm and smears progesterone onto the other arm. Progesterone is just a fancy way of saying steroids. She also claimed that she took 60 supplements and vitamins a day, 40 in the morning and 20 before bed. What really stirs stirred the pot was that this woman claimed to be a health expert and a self-help author, but surprise, surprise, doctor, she is not. Medical experts started bashing Oprah, claiming that this type of extreme hormone therapy would actually be the cause of several diseases and illnesses, like cancer. Despite Suzanne's claims that her specially made non-FDA approved bioidenticals are natural and safe, they're actually just synthetic conventional hormones that you can buy at a pharmacy. Oprah did everything in her power to sell this idea to her audience, believing 100% that the methods were useful, even claiming to have used some of these methods that made her feel incredible. So this lady would rather risk her audience getting cancer than just telling them the truth. That is solid. Number 7, an advocate for Maui. Oprah was claiming to be many things during the whole Maui backlash thing. A good boss, a charitable woman, and an advocate for the island of Maui. By starting her Maui fund and donating her spare millions, she made her mark in the public as a woman who she cares so much that she's asking you to give her money as well. Isn't that nice? As I've mentioned in previous videos, Oprah would not care about Maui or its people if she didn't have a vested stake on the island. Oprah's had property in Maui for quite some time, being almost a second home to her, and when the fire started raging, she started funding. But think about all the other things that have happened in the past couple of years around the world. We all forgot about Australia on fire in 2020. Western Canada was on fire at the beginning of this year. Some parts of Florida have been underwater for months, yet Oprah has decided to dedicate her time and money to helping an area where she has a vacation home. Number 6, the free cars. Now, who could forget Oprah's famous words, "You get a car, everybody gets a car." The moment was historical on her series and was parodied time and time again, and it still does get parodied to this day. However, what a lot of people don't know is that it wasn't as simple as, here are some keys, have fun. When someone gives out anything on television, there's a catch. For Oprah's audience, the catch was, if they wanted to drive away in a brand new car, they'd have to pay $7,000 in taxes first. While Oprah's studio would cover the sales tax and registration for each car, which was a lot, the audience members were given a choice to either pay the $7,000 and take their car home, or just simply take the cash instead. The infamous moment on the show featured 11 teachers who were, according to Oprah, in desperate need of a car. They, along with the audience, received keys in a box on camera that Oprah claimed to be for their new cars. Everything has a catch even now. For someone who is known to be charitable and generous, the word free really means something different to Oprah. Number 5, there were fabricated memoirs. Oprah launched her book club in 1996, a reading encouraging segment from her talk show. It turned any book that she liked into a bestseller. In September of 2005, she picked A Million Little Pieces, a brutal and painful memoir by James Frett about his years-long struggle with substance control issues. A Million Little Pieces became a best-selling non-fiction book of that year, and Frey was asked to appear on her talk show to discuss the book. Oprah called it gut-wrenching. However, the following year, a news outlet ran a pretty expositive article about Frey after it was discovered that he made up or juiced large portions of his memoir. For example, there's a section of the book that tells a story of Frey surviving a fatal crash that took the lives of 2 teenagers when he was never on that train nor had any involvement in the situation. Weeks after the article broke, Oprah asked Frey to come back onto the show, where he faced livid viewers and an even more livid Oprah. She told James that she felt duped and betrayed, a feeling that was shared by her audience and millions of people around the world. She asked why James felt the need to lie to herself and the readers, and he tried everything, making every excuse that he could think of. He claimed that he altered a lot of the details, but that the overall plot was real. The studio audience responded with waves of boos and gasps and groans. Winfrey later apologized for the mistreatment from her audience because it wasn't her intention, but the damage had already been done. His career as a writer is currently non-existent. Let's talk about some of the celebrities that she has had interactions with. Number 4, Cindy Crawford. Model and actress Cindy Crawford has called Oprah out over their 1986 interview that took place on her show, where Oprah asked the then 20-year-old to expose herself to the crowd. Crawford reflected on the interview in a new documentary called The Supermodels on Apple TV+. Everyone has a plus now. The documentary spotlights the careers of several models like Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, and of course Cindy Crawford. In a clip from the documentary, Winfrey is heard introducing the then aspiring supermodel to the Oprah Winfrey Show. Before she is asked, "Did she always have this body? I mean, this is unbelievable. Go on, stand up. Now that's what I call a body." Thank you, that is my impression of Oprah. She is visibly uncomfortable and sheepishly stands up before the studio audience cheered as she showed off her figure. According to Cindy, she felt like a child in that moment, being told what to do by her superior. She felt that the moment was more of a show us why you're worthy of being here type situation than anything else. At the time, this was just some weird thing that Oprah asked her to do, but it morphed and mutated into one of the most uncomfortable moments in her early years in modeling. The most shocking thing for her was the fact that it was Oprah Winfrey trying to tell her what to do. The woman who is known for her kindness and generosity made her feel like a puppet. Number 3. Where's the beef? In spring of 1996, the United Kingdom apparently experienced an outbreak of bovine spongiform encephalopathy, or mad cow disease, since I probably butchered that last part. According to the FDA, the disease destroys cows' central nervous system, and if humans eat it, then we get zombies! No, but they can contract a deadly variant called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. During the mad cow scare, the Oprah Winfrey Show booked Howard Lyman. The former cattle rancher had adopted a vegetarian lifestyle, and he went to work for the Humane Society's Eating with Conscience animal welfare campaign, and he appeared on the show to discuss the threat of mad cow to Americans. He pointed out that feeding the remains of mad cow to infected cattle or any other animals could have facilitated a spread, and such practices were apparently common in the United States. Oprah was stunned and vowed that she would never eat a burger again. And it turns out her influence and her millions of viewers were so large that only a few hours after that statement and the episode aired, she declared to never eat a hamburger ever again, and the price of beef stock plummeted, staying at an all-time low for 2 months. One Texas rancher actually lost an estimated $6.7 million that year and organized a class action lawsuit against Oprah and her show for talking trash about American beef. After about 6 weeks of a trial, she won, leaving one man with no farm and out thousands of extra dollars in legal fees. Number 2. Tom Cruise. Despite this man being in the Mission Impossible franchise, he's been in a lot of movies produced by himself. You didn't think Hollywood forgot about Oprah, did you? Following the announcement that he was engaged to Katie Holmes in the early 2000s, Tom appeared on an episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show, and it has gone down as one of the most iconic TV moments of all time. From the moment he steps on stage, things are just going wrong. He throws arms in the air, he rubs Oprah's shoulder like she's got a stain that just won't come out. Tom jumped on her couch, grabbed her hands over and over. She couldn't even get any questions out. Eventually, Oprah was like, okay, I'm done, bring Katie out. And then Tom is just running through the hallways as cameras follow him Blair Witch style. The moment cemented Tom as a man with many hidden personalities, and while it has not affected his work as an actor per se, ever since that day, whenever he's brought in for press of any kind or interviews, all entrances and exits must be locked at all times for everyone's safety. Again, this man may be in movies still, but they're rarely anything new or good. Number 1. Whoopi Goldberg. In author Kitty Kelly's unauthorized Oprah biography, Kelly claims that Whoopi Goldberg became a persona non grata, or an unwelcome person, to Oprah after Whoopi was nominated for an Oscar for her role in the original version of The Color Purple. The book noted that following the honor, the comedian never appeared on Oprah's show again and was noticeably shunned from her 2006 Legends Ball. It wasn't until Oprah invited the entire cast of The Color Purple onto the show that the so-called feud was addressed. It turns out Oprah actually ran into Whoopi at Tyler Perry's party sometime around 2006, just after the snub. Goldberg confronted Oprah, leading to a hilariously adorable moment between them. She asked if she was mad at her, to which Oprah said, "I thought you were mad at me. Well, that's crazy." They mutually agreed that they really should have just picked up the phone a long time ago and settled the dispute.
Number 10. Cindy Crawford. Model and actress Cindy Crawford has called Oprah out over their 1986 interview that took place on her show, where Oprah asked the then 20-year-old to expose herself to the crowd. Crawford reflected on the interview in a new documentary called The Supermodels on Apple TV+. Everyone has a plus now. The documentary spotlights the career of several models like Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, and of course Cindy Crawford. In a clip from the documentary, Winfrey is heard introducing the then aspiring supermodel to the Oprah Winfrey Show before she asked her, "Did she always have this body? This is unbelievable. Stand up, now that's what I call a body." She is visibly uncomfortable and sheepishly stands up before the studio audience cheered as she showed off her figure. According to Cindy, she felt like a child in that moment, being told what to do by her superior. She felt that the moment was more of a show us why you're worthy of being here type situation. At the time, this is just one of those weird things that Oprah asked her to do, but it morphed and mutated into one of the most uncomfortable moments in her early years in modeling. The most shocking thing for her was the fact that this was Oprah Winfrey trying to tell her what to do. The woman known for her kindness and generosity made her feel like a puppet. Number 9. Seth MacFarlane. The creator of Family Guy and the TED series is not a fan of Miss Oprah Winfrey. During the whole 2020 situation with the masks and the isolation, you know what I'm talking about, Seth decided to share some words of wisdom about Oprah Winfrey. He started by acknowledging that Oprah had done some pretty altruistic things with her career, but that she used her platform to amplify the voices of outlandish characters rather than legitimate scientists or medical professionals. The post included a link to the LA Times that discussed the misinformation from Dr. Phil, and of course Dr. Oz. He was claiming that a ton of what was discussed on their shows was nothing more than misinformation and entertaining disasters. The Cash Me Outside girl, the purple guy who drank silver water like it was his job, and so many more that I can't actually talk about online. He called Oprah Winfrey out for starting as a legitimate show with the goal of educating and instead morphed into this misinformation platform. Number 8. Rose McGowan. A ton of A-listers out there will be on Oprah's side through thick and thin, just the way it is. However, Scream alumni and Me Too activist Rose McGowan is not one of those people. The former Charm star tweeted a photo from 2014 involving Oprah kissing the cheek of one of the most disgraced men in Hollywood history. Can't really say his name, but you know exactly who I'm talking about. The photo was taken from the 2014 Critics' Choice Movie Awards. She posted about on Twitter that she was glad to see the ugly truth about Oprah coming to light, and she said that she wished Oprah was real, but sadly she was not. According to Rose, she is as fake as they come, #lizard. Winfrey claimed that she did not know what was going on back then and regretted being so close to such a terrible man. A terrible man that I really wish we could talk about, but nope, that's not happening. Number 6. Kid Rock. So Kid has never really been shy about his opinions on anything, especially when it comes to Oprah. A while back, Kid Rock was escorted out of his own steakhouse in Nashville for ranting about Oprah in an alcohol-fueled tirade. He told TMZ that his PR team actually tried to get him on Oprah at one point, and apparently Oprah's team wanted Kid to write down 5 reasons why he loved their show. He then said F that and threw away the offer. Over the following years and to this day, he has tweeted his opinions and feelings towards Oprah, with the big summary being that he just doesn't vibe with her, literally saying that he could not explain why. Well, maybe it was because he didn't believe that she was nice or charitable, but that he was certain that she was secretly a menace, and look where we are now. Number 6. Mel Gibson. There has been a ton of misinformation spread across the internet since this whole Oprah situation has gone down. For a while, people really believed that Jason Momoa and Tom Hanks had inside information on Oprah, and that it needed to be shared with the world. But that was all a lie, and neither of those people ever said a word about Oprah. Another celebrity brought into the mix for some reason is Mel Gibson, a man fueled by controversy. For the past few weeks, clips and comments have been making their way across the globe, alleging that Mel Gibson has the inside scoop on Oprah's secret agenda, ready to share it with the world. But that once again turned out not to be true. In fact, it was just someone who really loves using AI to try and make content. In fact, Mel has spoken out about claiming that he has never received inside info on Oprah, and that he was fairly neutral on this so-called hate towards her. Number 5. Seal. This man may be known for his vocal chops, but he should also be known for meme-making abilities. Just days after the Golden Globes, Seal posted a meme on Instagram consisting of several photos of Oprah Winfrey cozying up with a man who I will not be naming. He's a guy who produced half of Quentin Tarantino's movies and was a main character of the Me Too movement that happened back in 2017. He and Oprah were photographed spending time together, and one photo even made it look like Oprah was pushing singer Rita Ora towards him. Seal captioned the image saying a bunch of stuff that I just cannot quote, but the meme itself read, "When you have been part of the problem for a decade, but suddenly they all think you are the solution." Well, I'm not sure how deep this feud goes, but on the surface it seems like Seal has been trying to warn us that something is up for years. Number 4. Ice Cube. Ice may have gotten his career thanks to his epic music chops, both as a solo artist as well as during his time with the NWA. But these days you probably know him as the guy from Ride Along or 21 Jump Street. Ice Cube started acting in movies in 1991, debuting in the film Boys in the Hood as Doughboy. He continued to act over and over again, starring in movies like Friday, Anaconda, and Are We There Yet? His dislike for Oprah comes from the fact that while he has starred in several films and has become more widely known for those films, she's never actually invited him onto the show. She's even asked his co-stars to appear rather than himself on multiple occasions. In 2006, Ice Cube expressed his frustrations, saying that his barbershop co-stars Cedric the Entertainer and Eve were all invited onto the show while he was left on the sidelines. He pointed out how crazy that is, the fact that she's had all these people with dark pasts and convictions, plus if he wasn't a rags to riches story, then who was? We did get a little piece of that story in the film Straight Outta Compton in 2015, a film that received massive critical success and that was never mentioned on Oprah's show. Number 3. Jason Momoa. Aquaman, the enemy of Don Torito, and now the man speaking out on the Oprah Maui scandal, Jason Momoa is a gifted actor and by all accounts a gifted person too. Recently, several news outlets have claimed that Jason is on the opposing side of the fund. According to these outlets, Jason posted a video to Instagram where he addresses the fires and offers his own support to the victims. While never mentioning anyone by name, he mentions that some may use this as a way to exploit or make profit, but that is not his intentions. The clip went viral, and as you can guess, many outlets were interpreting everything that they could, with the big headlines being Jason Momoa calls out Oprah for wildfires. While not completely inaccurate, the general consensus is that there is no bad blood between these people. Jason has yet to specify who would actually be profiting from this, but since the backlash, he has been posting videos on a regular basis, updating his followers on the situation, and also his position in assisting with things so far. Of course, Jason has donated money to the People's Fund and has also teamed up with Dwayne Johnson to do public functions and collaborations to raise awareness and scrape together as much money for the people of Maui as possible. Number 2, Ludacris. Ludacris appeared on Oprah in 2004 to promote the film Crash. He claimed that Oprah ambushed him with criticism about hip-hop lyrics instead of talking about the critically acclaimed movie that he was there to plug. Ludacris has since claimed that Oprah edited the show to make herself seem more favorable to audience members. He said that during a separate interview that she had edited out a lot of his comments while keeping her own in. Of course, it is her show, but they were doing a show on racial discrimination, and she gave Ludacris a hard time as a rapper when he came on her show as an actor. He then revealed that his interview was extremely last minute, not knowing if it was a real thing roughly 24 hours before. Following the interview on Oprah, she pulled him aside to a green room where he claims to have been berated by her. According to Oprah, having a rapper on her show made her feel like she was empowering them. He said that it was like being at someone's house who really doesn't want you there, and at that point he had already been very uncomfortable, but that was a little cherry on top. Her main concern was his use of the N-word in lyrics, but he quickly pointed out the hypocrisy of having people like Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock on the show. These guys were also famous for using the slur in their sets. Oprah's shadiness was on full display following that interview from Ludacris. Number 1, herself. Oprah is taking the top spot on a list of people exposing Oprah, because yes, she has been doing it since day one. Her talk show is all about bringing the most vulnerable people onto her show to get views. She's brought in violence victims, health experts, fake psychologists, and convicted felons onto her program, all for the sake of profit. As the years went by, her style was adapted by more and more studios, creating shows like Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, both equally as controversial. Not to mention a few years ago when she wrote a book detailing her early life and rise to the top, revealing some truly dark truths about her home life. She herself was considered to be a tyrant by her family, but it seems that whatever negative juju lived in that house, it really rubbed off on her.
Number 10, an advocate for Maui. Oprah has been claiming to be many things since this Maui backlash thing has started. A good boss, a charitable woman, and an advocate for the island of Maui. By starting this fund and donating her spare millions, she's made her mark in the public as a woman who cares, so much so that she's asking you to give her your money. Isn't that nice? As mentioned in previous videos, Oprah would not care about Maui or its people if she didn't have a vested stake on the island. Oprah's had property in Maui for quite some time, being almost a second home to her. When the fire started raging, she started fundraising. Think about all of the things that have happened in the past few years. We all forgot about Australia being set on fire in 2020. A lot of Western Canada was on fire earlier this year, and some parts of Florida have been underwater for a long time, and they just kind of live with it. Yet Oprah has dedicated her time and money to helping out the area where she has a vacation home. Do with that what you will. Number 9, the NDAs. Confidentiality agreements are not uncommon in the world of Hollywood. Marvel will literally track you down if you say anything about their movies to anyone. In Kitty Kelly's tell-all book about Oprah, the author mentions there were confidentiality agreements that co-workers and guests were made to sign. This included everyone from Tom Cruise to the guy who made his breakfast in the morning. Over 500 staff members were forced to sign these documents, with one former employee, Elizabeth Cody, trying to write a book about her time working for Oprah, but she was eventually stopped by the courts, still being tied to the agreement. The NDAs were not meant to be a way to just keep show secrets safe, but any and all of Oprah's secrets as well. According to Elizabeth, the document was signed by almost everybody in Oprah's life, and she may have had this brand of sweetness and kindness, but that it was just not how she was. Elizabeth felt that she was in Oprah's pocket after she signed the paperwork. In 2010, there was even a lawsuit filed against Oprah and her company from a training performance center that was claiming that they were fired for violating the terms of her agreement, but all they did was just advertise that they were doing stuff for her show, so I'm not sure what's wrong there. Number 8, diva. On air, Oprah is portrayed as this wholesome, sweet lady, but according to her stepmother, there's actually this unknown side to Oprah, hidden from fans for years. According to Barbara, Oprah is one of the most controlling people that you're ever gonna meet. She claims that Oprah does not allow herself and her husband to stay at Oprah's home whenever they try to visit, which means that they have to stay in hotels with money out of their own pockets. Barbara also said that Oprah was very quick to anger when it came to her staff especially, with a lot of people being fired over the years left and right for the littlest things. But that's not all. Despite being a billionaire, Barbara allows Oprah to stay at her home when she visits, which she just complains about the entire time. The first time she ever stayed there, Oprah allegedly complained that her bed sheets weren't 1,000 threads and that her bath towel wasn't big enough, but that's fair. This woman has billions of dollars to do literally anything she wants, and what she wants to do is make her family feel like a burden to the world. Number 7, controversial beliefs. Oprah has had plenty of controversial people onto her show, from so-called medical experts to psychologists to celebrities. Whatever's good for TV, it's good for Oprah. One particular incident that caused a ton of backlash for Oprah was when she did an interview with Suzanne Summers. She was brought onto the show to share her beauty secrets on how she was able to look so young. According to Summers, this treatment that she does on a regular basis would help people. She claimed that she rubs estrogen cream into her skin on one arm and smears progesterone into the other arm. Progesterone is just a fancy way of saying steroids. She also claimed that she took 60 supplements and vitamins a day, 40 in the morning and 20 before bed. What really stirred the pot was that this woman claimed to be a health expert and self-help author, but surprise surprise, doctor she was not. Medical experts started bashing Oprah, claiming that this type of extreme hormone therapy was actually the cause of several diseases and illnesses, like cancer. Despite Suzanne's claims that her specially made non-FDA approved bioidenticals were natural and safe, they were actually just synthetic conventional hormones that you could buy from a pharmacy. A little label smacked on the front. Oprah did everything in her power to sell this idea to her audience, believing 100% that these methods were useful, even claiming to have used the methods to make herself feel incredible. So Oprah would rather risk her audience getting cancer than telling them the truth. Solid. Number 6. The free cars. Who could forget Oprah's famous words? You get a car, you get a car, everybody got a car. The moment was historical on her series and was parodied time and time again, and it still does to this day. However, what a lot of people do not know is that it wasn't as simple as here's some car keys, go have fun. That would be insane. No, when someone gives you anything on television, especially if it's free, there's a catch. For Oprah's audience, the catch was that if they wanted to drive away in their brand new car, they'd have to pay over $7,000 in taxes first. While Oprah's studio would cover the sales tax and registration for the cars, their audience members were given a choice to either pay $7 grand and take the car, or just simply keep that cash instead. The famous moment she shouted this on the show featured 11 real teachers who were, according to Oprah, in desperate need of a new car. They, along with the audience members, received keys in a box on camera that Oprah claimed to be for their new cars. Everything has a catch though, even now. For someone who was known for being charitable and generous, the word free really does mean something different to Oprah. Number 5. The fabricated memoirs. This is a time when Oprah kind of ruined someone's life when she brought them onto her show. Oprah launched her book club in 1996, a reading encouraging segment from her talk show that turned any book that she chose into a bestseller. In September 2005, Winfrey picked A Million Little Pieces, a brutal and painful memoir by James Frett about his years-long struggle with substance control issues. A Million Little Pieces became the best-selling nonfiction book of that year, and Frey was asked to appear on her talk show to discuss the book that Oprah called gut-wrenching. However, the following year, a news outlet ran a very expositive article about Frey after it was discovered that he made up or juiced large portions of his memoir. For example, there is a section of the book that tells a story of Frey surviving a fatal train crash that took the lives of 2 teenagers. Well, he was never on that train and he didn't have anything to do with that situation. He just wrote about it and was like, I was there. Weeks after the article broke, Oprah asked Frey to return to the show, where he faced livid viewers and an even more livid Oprah. She told James that she felt duped and betrayed, which was a feeling that was shared by her audience and millions of readers around the world. When she asked James why he felt the need to lie to herself and her readers, he tried everything, making every excuse he could think of, and he claimed that he altered a lot of details, but that the overall plot was real. While the studio audience responded with a massive wave of boos, gasps, and groans, and Winfrey later apologized for the mistreatment from her audience, because that wasn't her intention. But the damage was already done, and this dude's career as a writer is non-existent. Number 4. Lance Armstrong. 7-time Tour de France winner Lance Armstrong has gone down in history as a man who's unable to ride a bike without chemical training wheels. In an interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2013, Lance was brought on to discuss the allegations floating around regarding his status as a Tour de France winner. Several sources claimed that Lance had to take performance-enhancing substances to win each and every race, as well as a type of transfusion involving the red life juice that flows inside all of us. Armstrong went on air and fessed up to every single thing that people were claiming claiming he had done. However, he did deny the notion that he was like a mastermind who would control his teammates and force them to join in his extracurricular activities. But amidst his admission of guilt, say that 10 times fast, there was a moment where he tried to pin the situation on his battle with cancer. He wraps it up by saying that he should have tried harder to cancel the culture rather than to create a problem. Well, unfortunately for him, he was stripped of all 7 Tour de France titles and has since lived in exile among the cycling community. Number 3. Where's the beef? In spring of 1996, the United Kingdom apparently experienced an outbreak of bovine spongiform encephalopathy, or mad cow disease, since I can't pronounce that last word. According to the FDA, the disease destroys cows' central nervous system, and if humans eat the infected meat, you get zombies that can't. No, you can contract a deadly variant called Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, probably named after the first dude who got the disease. During the mad cow scare, the Oprah Winfrey Show booked Howard Lyman. The former cattle rancher had adopted a vegetarian lifestyle, and he went to work for the Humane Society's Eating with Co-Science Animal Welfare campaign, and he appeared on the show to discuss the threat of mad cows to America. He pointed out that feeding the remains of mad cow to infected cattle or other animals could have facilitated the spread, and that a lot of that was happening in the US right then and there. Oprah was stunned and vowed that she would never eat another burger ever again. Well, it turns out her influence and her millions of viewers were so large that only a few hours after the episode aired and she declared that she wasn't eating hamburgers ever again, the price of beef stock plummeted, staying at an all-time low for 2 months. In fact, one Texas rancher lost an estimated $6.7 million and organized a class action lawsuit against Oprah and her show for talking trash about beef. After a 6-week trial, she won, leaving one dude with no farm and out hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees. Number 2. Trespasser. So, there's a video circulating the internet that a lot of people are interpreting as a direct message to Oprah Winfrey. Jason Momoa released a video on his Instagram a few weeks ago urging tourists not to come to Maui as the place was on fire and, they didn't need anybody's help. He claimed that he appreciated anyone sharing love for the people of Maui and continued to say that there was someone trying to scam people out of money that was pretending to be him online. After sharing links to several sites that were directly linked to putting money into the pockets of the people of Maui, fans decided to focus on the bit about people staying away. Now, at the same time that this was happening, Oprah and The Rock had announced the People's Fund of Maui, and the thing was that caused a lot of backlash for Oprah. And in Jason's video, he does not include a link to the charity and doesn't even acknowledge its existence. He has since spoken about the charity, but has never actually said the names Oprah or Dwayne out loud. People are just putting 2 and 2 together though, and the internet has decided that Jason Momoa has called Oprah Winfrey a trespasser. Number 1. Whoopi Goldberg. In author Kitty Kelly's unauthorized Oprah biography, Kelly claims that Whoopi Goldberg became a persona non grata, or an unwelcome person in Oprah's life, after Whoopi was nominated for an Oscar for her role in The Color Purple. The book noted that following the honor, the comedian never appeared on Oprah's show again and was noticeably shunned from her 2006 Legends Ball. It wasn't until Oprah invited the entire cast of The Color Purple onto the show that the so-called feud was addressed. It turns out that Oprah had actually ran into Whoopi at Tyler Perry's party sometime after the 2006 snub. Goldberg confronted Oprah, leading to a hilariously adorable moment where Oprah asked why Whoopi was mad at her, to which Whoopi was like, "I'm not mad at you, I thought you were mad at me, what's going on here?" They mutually agreed that they really should have just picked up the phone a long time ago and figured the whole thing out and settled the dispute.
Let's jump right in with Rose McGowan. We're gonna discuss the controversies surrounding Hollywood's prominent figures and their relationship with talk show host Oprah Winfrey. Rose McGowan, an influential figure in the #MeToo movement and star of the Scream franchise, is distanced from this trend. McGowan brought attention to a photo from the 2014 Critics' Choice Movie Awards, which shows Winfrey kissing a disgraced producer in Hollywood. McGowan captioned her tweet with some strong words saying, "I'm glad more are seeing the ugly truth of @Oprah. I wish she were real, but she isn't," and added that she is supporting a sick power structure for personal gain. She is as fake as they come, #Lizard. This tweet sparked a lot of debate and speculation among fans, with some defending Winfrey and others criticizing her. However, it's important to note that this is not the first time McGowan has called out Winfrey. Now, we all know how relevant Oprah has remained within the industry, so do you think she's part of the problem in Hollywood? I mean, she's pretty powerful. Let us know in the comments below. On to the next, Seth MacFarlane. MacFarlane? I don't know. In a tweet posted in 2020, MacFarlane acknowledged Winfrey's positive influence through her career as a television host and and philanthropist and praised her for using her platform to bring attention to important issues and making a positive impact in society. However, he also expressed his disappointment in Winfrey's frequent promotion of pseudoscience and conspiracy theories on her talk show. He urged Winfrey to use her influential voice to promote facts and science instead of spreading misinformation. This tweet sparked a debate among fans of both MacFarlane and Winfrey. Some supported Seth's call for accountability, while others defended Winfrey's right to her own opinions. Despite there are differences in opinion, both MacFarlane and Winfrey have used their platforms to bring attention to important social issues. Even those who we admire and respect are not immune to criticism and should be held accountable for their actions. Kid Rock. Kid Rock has never been one to hide his feelings towards Oprah Winfrey. As TMZ highlighted before, Kid Rock had a public outburst about Winfrey at his own establishment, Kid Rock's Big Honky Tonk and Steakhouse in Nashville, which resulted in him being escorted out. He tweeted, "Years ago, my team tried to get me on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Her team wanted me to list 5 reasons why I loved her and her show. I flatly refused. That's the end of it." Kid Rock hasn't been shy about expressing his feelings. In 2008, he clarified his sentiments, telling The Independent, "Oprah Winfrey just doesn't sit well with me. I don't trust her. Maybe that's because I'm not one of the 150 million women who hang on her every word." Damn. Kid Rock has made his disdain for Oprah evident on multiple occasions. In 2010, he went as far as calling her a bitch during a live performance at the CMA Awards. However, Kid Rock's animosity towards Winfrey seems to stem from more than just personal feelings. In an interview with The Guardian in 2015, Kid Rock explained his dislike for Winfrey by saying, "I don't hate Oprah, quite the opposite. I have a lot of admiration and respect for what she's been able to accomplish in her career. My issue is with the way she uses her platform to push certain agendas and manipulate public opinion." It's obvious Kid Rock believes Winfrey has too much influence over her viewers and uses it to push her own agenda. He also expressed concern over the potential for her to sway political opinions, stating, "I think that's where a lot of people get turned off by Oprah or any celebrity using their platform for political gain." Up next is Seal. Singer Seal didn't hold back his disapproval of Winfrey making his feelings known on social media. Back in 2018, the acclaimed vocalist, best known for his hit song Kiss from a Rose, leveled allegations against Winfrey, claiming she had knowledge of a disgraced producer whose name shall not be named, his actions for decades. He posted a now deleted Instagram photo of Winfrey with said producer with a scathing caption, "You'd heard the rumors, hadn't you? Yet you turned a blind eye to the truth that he was preying on unsuspecting, ambitious young actresses. Apologies for my oversight." He continued, "When you've been a part of the problem for decades, yet everyone suddenly sees you as the solution, hashtag sanctimonious Hollywood." Singer Seal's comments about Oprah Winfrey and disgraced producer sparked controversy and brought attention to the larger issue of assault and harassment in Hollywood. While some praised Seal for speaking out, others criticized him for his harsh words towards Winfrey. This incident also highlighted the complicated relationship between celebrities and their involvement in important social issues. It serves as a reminder that everyone has a responsibility to educate themselves and use their platform for good. The conversation about misconduct in the entertainment industry continues, and it is important to listen to all voices and work towards creating a safer environment for everyone. So we must ensure that our society provides equal opportunities and safe spaces for all individuals. Only then can we truly progress towards a more inclusive and just society. Up next, Ludacris. Following his role in the 2004 movie Crash, Ludacris, otherwise known as Christopher Brian Bridges, made an appearance on Winfrey's TV program. The intent was to discuss the film, but the conversation took a different turn. Ludacris told GQ, "She got many of my points, keeping hers intact. It's her show, but we were discussing racial discrimination, and I felt she was challenging me excessively as a rapper, disregarding my role as an actor for the show." He added, "At first I wasn't even invited to the show. It was only the night before when they rang me up to say I could come. After filming, Winfrey and I had a short 5-minute chat. The impression I got was that she believes by hosting rappers, she's giving them more power. It felt like being in a place where you're not welcome. It was already quite awkward." Following the controversial interview, Ludacris received backlash from both fans and critics. Many accused him of being disrespectful towards Winfrey and not understanding the purpose of her show. However, Ludacris defended himself by stating that he was simply speaking his truth and standing up for himself. The incident shed light on a larger issue within the entertainment industry, the portrayal of rappers and hip-hop artists. Many have argued that these artists are often stigmatized and pigeonholed into negative stereotypes, while their talents as actors or intellectuals are overlooked. Jason Momoa. In the aftermath of the devastating wildfires that swept through Maui in August 2023, Hollywood star Jason Momoa pointed fingers at 2 prominent figures, Oprah Winfrey and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Momoa charged them with, in his own words, stealing money from the poor. This controversy arose from a fundraising initiative that Winfrey and Johnson had organized with the aim of aiding the victims of these wildfires. In the months following the controversy, both Winfrey and Johnson have responded to Momoa's allegations. In an exclusive interview with Oprah magazine, Winfrey stated that she was deeply saddened by Momoa's accusations and denied any wrongdoing on her part. She explained that the fundraiser had been a collaborative effort with Johnson and that all of the proceeds went towards helping the victims of the wildfires. She also added that she had personally donated a large sum to the cause. Angelina Jolie, in an unexpected twist, it appears that two globally recognized humanitarians, Angelina and Oprah, have had some friction. When Winfrey was launching her esteemed project, the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, she reportedly reached out to Jolie for assistance. However, according to an insider's account shared with Star Magazine, in 2007, Jolie declined. Winfrey had anticipated Jolie's support given her love for Africa. Disappointed, Winfrey vowed never to ask for Jolie's help in her humanitarian projects in the future. The source also claimed that there might be unresolved issues between the two, stemming from Winfrey's support for Jennifer Aniston during the well-publicized split with Brad Pitt. In recent years, there have been multiple reports of tension and rivalry between Angelina and Oprah. While both women are highly influential figures in their respective fields, many wonder what has caused this apparent friction between them. David Letterman. Many assume the beef between David and Oprah started because of an awkward joke at the 1995 Academy Awards, but according to Letterman, the disagreement actually sparked well before that. In a 2010 episode of The Daily Show, he told Jon Stewart, "The feud predates the Academy Awards. She had a problem with me long before then." He narrated an encounter from a vacation they both happened to be on. Oprah was with Stedman and I was with my then girlfriend Regina. We were having lunch at the same restaurant. I jokingly told Regina, "Let's have Oprah pick up our check," and that's what happened. Letterman convinced the waiter that Winfrey would pay for their lunch. This, according to Letterman, is where the feud started, but Oprah has a different take on the feud's origin. In a 2012 interview with CBS News, she said she felt uncomfortable on his show and avoided any contact with him for 16 years, during which he continuously made jokes at her expense. They've since reconciled their differences. Joan Rivers. In her first national television debut on The Tonight Show in 1985, Oprah Winfrey faced an unexpected blow from the late Joan Rivers. As Winfrey recounts in her book, Food, Health, and Happiness, she was just getting comfortable when Rivers threw a curveball question, "So how'd you gain the weight?" Winfrey was taken aback on her big day with the word fat echoing in her mind. Winfrey explains further that Rivers from behind Johnny's large desk scolded her for letting herself gain weight. Rivers' manicured finger pointed at her, reminding her of her single status and challenging her to lose 15 pounds before her next visit. And finally, 50 Cent. In the 2006 edition of Elle magazine, rapper 50 Cent made a controversial comment about Oprah Winfrey, referring to her as an Oreo. He voiced his dissatisfaction, arguing that while Oprah started her career focusing on the perspectives of black women, she had gradually shifted her attention towards middle-aged white American women to such an extent that he believed she had become one of them. To throw further shade on Oprah, 50 Cent even named his miniature schnauzer after her. However, in 2012, they set their differences aside and had an open discussion on an episode of Oprah's Next Chapter. Visiting 50 Cent at his grandmother's house, Oprah listened as the rapper expressed his grievances about her show's apparent snub of hip-hop artists and her stance against the use of the N-word. The relationship between celebrities and media moguls like Oprah is complex and ever-changing. Some stars have used their platforms to voice their concerns or share their experiences, painting a multifaceted picture of the celebrity life and the media industry.
In at number 10, Janet Jackson. It's very rare that a celebrity in Hollywood is able to keep their relationship, or marriage for that matter, under the radar. However, Janet Jackson has been able to keep her multiple marriages and subsequent divorces all a secret from the tabloids. First, she was married to singer-songwriter Renee Elizondo in 1991, and that union remained under wraps until she filed for divorce in 2000. She then managed to keep her next marriage to billionaire Wissam Almana in 2012 a secret as well. This marriage actually really ended up changing Janet. She moved to London and abandoned her look to opt for a more conservative garb in the line with Almana's Muslim religion. The couple wed 2 years after they met, and much to everyone's surprise, the then 50-year-old Janet announced that she was pregnant with son Issa, who was born in January of this year. To even greater surprise, Janet then announced her separation from Almana 4 months later. In at number 9, Kathy Griffin. Kathy Griffin is typically all about the laugh, so it's really hard to believe her when she's talking about her late brother, a convicted pedophile. The public first learned about her older brother Kenny in her best-selling autobiography My Life on the D-List, and in the book Kathy spoke about growing up with her brother and how she felt a very violent energy whenever he was around. She even admitted to witnessing him beating up his own wife. What's just as disturbing was when Kathy explained how he was sexually inappropriate with her from the time that she was just a little girl. Ultimately, this shaped the way that she perceived the world and herself as she grew up. Kenny Griffin ended up going to prison and eventually passed away. In at number 8, Rose McGowan. Ever since the beginning of the Time's Up and Me Too movement, actress Rose McGowan has been an outspoken force for change. As a result, she's been very open about her own personal secrets involving mental illness and sexual abuse. Growing up, her life was plagued with pain because her parents belonged to a cult called the Children of God. According to Rose, the members believed in free love, and so she was raised in a commune where mistreating women was just normalized. She even cited that men in the cult would regularly mistreat women and force them to act as servants. In at number 7, Holly Madison. Having frequently visited the Playboy Mansion when she was a 20-year-old college student in Los Angeles, the aspiring actress decided to move into the house a year later in 2001. The Oregon native, who was familiar with Playboy and had been a fan, soon became Hugh Hefner's lead girlfriend, and the two appeared to fall madly in love. Over the course of their 7 years together, their untraditional relationship was followed on the E! Channel series called The Girls Next Door. Holly acted as the loyal wife figure alongside co-stars and fellow girlfriends Kendra and Bridget. However, in a bizarre series of events, Holly left the mansion claiming that Hugh had refused to marry her. That being said, this is exactly how Hef wanted things to appear to the general public. In her memoir titled Down the Rabbit Hole, she spoke openly about their relationship and revealed some deep-rooted secrets that Hugh never wanted us to know. Apparently, he knew that she was unhappy and just ignored her. Upon reflecting on it, she said that even though she gave 7 years of her life, the man could barely have a conversation with her. In at number 6, Melissa Joan Hart. Melissa Joan Hart may be a happily married mother of 3, but during her time as Sabrina the Teenage Witch, she partied like every other Hollywood star. In the 1990s, she appeared to be this squeaky clean actor, but that was just an image put forth by executives. In her tell-all book called Melissa Explains It All, she speaks very openly about all of the secret stories that she had to keep under wraps while acting in Hollywood. In one portion of the book, she says that she experimented with weed, ecstasy, mushrooms, and mescaline for about a year and a half. Looks like her broomstick wasn't the only thing that was getting her high. Am I right? Up top. No? Okay. On top of that, she spilled crazy details about making out with a woman in a limo and then heading to a Maxim photo shoot while still high, then revealing that it was her 3rd or 4th time on ecstasy for this photo shoot. Although all of this bad behavior, she says, is attributed to the bad crowd that she was hanging around with. I think she claimed also that Paris Hilton once offered her cocaine at a party, but obviously she denied. In at number 5, Daniel Radcliffe. Where does the time go? It feels like only yesterday that we were watching the adventures of Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Although because we were so engulfed in following Daniel Radcliffe bring this character to life, we failed to notice when he grew up. Not only that, but his confession that he had a drinking problem was sadly something that no one wanted to hear about. Thankfully, he beat this in 2010, but the actor himself has revealed that he would show up to the set of Harry Potter still intoxicated from the night before. Daniel said that there were times during his teen years where he felt like he was being watched, and while admitting that most of that may have been in his own head, he still didn't know how to deal with it. During an interview with Off Camera, he said, "In my case, the quickest way to forget about the fact that you're being watched is to get very drunk." In an interview for The Guardian, he said that he turned to alcohol to cope with the pressure of fame and potential failure. And as I mentioned, he has been sober since 2010, but said that his friends played a big role in his recovery. Although he did reveal some pretty crazy stuff about being intoxicated while filming Harry Potter. Daniel said, "I can honestly say I never drank at work on Harry Potter. I went into work still drunk, but I never drank at work. I can point to many scenes where I'm just gone, dead behind the eyes." That really changes that movie series for me. In at number 4, Jackie Chan. There are very few actors in the world that have forsaken their health and safety like Jackie Chan just in order to do their own stunts. As a master of the martial arts, he has put his skills to the test both physically and comedically. Over the course of his illustrious career, he has injured himself countless times but somehow remains unfazed. It's most likely because Jackie grew up in a family of risk takers. His mother, Li Chan, was a drug dealer, and his father actually was a secret agent for the Nationalist Guard. His father ended up fleeing to Hong Kong after Mao took power in 1949, and his mother was forced to abandon her first 2 children due to extreme poverty. Jackie Chan's parents actually met in the most bizarre way possible, a reason for meeting that Jackie would keep quiet for many years. Li and Charles Chan met when he busted her for drug possession. He ended up taking pity on her and then just letting her go. I mean, what an origin story for this Hollywood superstar. In at number 3, Richard Pryor. More often than not, comedians have very tragic backstories, and that can certainly be said for the legendary comedian Richard Pryor. The actor and comic struggled with addiction throughout his life. He was married 7 times and even lit himself on fire once. However, his upbringing was even more of a personal struggle. Richard Pryor's mother, Gertrude, was a prostitute who worked out of his grandmother Marie's brothel. When Gertrude abandoned her son when he was only 10 years old, he was left in the hands of his abusive grandmother. Pryor's paternal side also didn't do him any favors. His father, Leroy, was a hustler and a boxer, yet despite his own demons and secrets, Pryor was able to turn his pain into comedy. In at number 2, 50 Cent. A lot of rappers talk about living a gangster lifestyle, but some of them actually do it. 50 Cent might seem egotistical and talk a big game, but the rapper has had a very tough childhood. The rapper, whose real name is Curtis Jackson, was born in Queens, New York, and his mother, Sabrina, was just 15 years old when she gave birth to him. Sabrina ended up turning to drug dealing to feed her son and became one of the most notorious drug dealers in the area. Unfortunately, she was killed in in an unexplained fire when Jackson was only 8 years old. Still, he would go on to follow in her footsteps with drug dealing and was even shot 9 times in May of 2000. At the age of 19, an undercover police officer had arrested Jackson for selling 4 vials of cocaine, and then his home was raided 3 weeks later. He was then sentenced to 3 to 9 years, and he went to a boot camp instead to get his GED, but at this time he was already rapping and took on the name 50 Cent, which actually was an original moniker of a Brooklyn crook from the 1980s. Bunch of secrets in there for you that you can read on an autobiography page. Last but certainly not least, our number 1 spot, Keith Richards. Nobody who started their career in the music business in the 1960s, and I mean nobody, has remained untouched by the glorious days of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. This is especially valid for the musicians of the legendary rock bands, most of whom have admitted to having consumed all kinds of substances in their time. But none of those are as bizarre as the one that Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones is said to have sampled. In 2007, a magazine revealed that the 72-year-old guitarist once mixed his father's ashes with cocaine and then snorted him. The veteran of drug marathons was convinced that his father wouldn't have objected at all, and added that he went down pretty well. Many years later, Richards realized that being still alive after decades of drug and alcohol abuse was just pure luck. He also advised that others not follow in his footsteps and definitely abstain from snorting their parents.
And at number 10, Harry and Meghan are related. This should be taken with a slight grain of salt because at some point, if we go back far enough, we're pretty much all related. So as we know, Meghan was born American, and of course Harry is British, but they still share some DNA. The Daily Mail did a genealogical investigation where it was revealed that Harry and Meghan are cousins dating back to the 15th century. The connection is on Markle's father's side, but of course it's 15 generations back, so there are no real connections still intact, and there's zero chance anyone will be related at family gatherings. And at number 9, always wanted to be famous. An old friend of Meghan's came forward after the engagement claiming that Meghan always wanted to be famous, even since childhood. She not only loved being the center of attention from a young age, she was very calculated in who she spent her time with. Nanaki Pretty told the Daily Mail, quote, "All I can say now is I think that Meghan was calculated, very calculated in the way she handled people and relationships. She is very strategic in the way she cultivates circles of friends." Pretty also claimed that Meghan always wanted to be famous. Royal scholars have pointed out that this trait is a positive for Meghan and Harry's relationship. Apparently most of Harry's other relationships didn't work out because the women he was with did not like all the attention, but clearly this is not an issue for Meghan. Penny Junor, author of Prince Harry, Brother Soldier's Son, told the Express, quote, "One of the advantages of Meghan is because she's in the public eye, she likes that. The real problem with Harry's girlfriends in the past is that they absolutely hated the media attention that scared them off." And at number 8, Meghan cheated with Harry. After Meghan was confirmed to be dating Prince Harry, it came out that there might have been some overlap between her relationship with Harry and with her ex, who was Canadian chef Corey Vitelio. Before she started dating Harry, Meghan was seen out with the chef on multiple occasions. Nobody thought anything about her past relationship until a fan noticed that Vanity Fair changed the date when Harry and Meghan started dating from May to July of 2016, because apparently she was still with the chef in May. Harry and Meghan first met at the Invictus Games in Toronto, and when Harry asked for her number, the Telegraph reported that she was still with her ex. The Daily Mail actually asked the chef about his split with Meghan, and he claimed that he and Meghan had, quote, parted permanently when Harry came on scene. However, he did somewhat hint that the pair might have been together in some capacity while she still was with Harry. And at number 7, fame changed her. After news broke that Meghan was marrying Harry and would become a princess, many sources came out saying that fame had changed her, and she's all about climbing the social ladder. In December of 2017, news broke that Samantha Markle, who is Meghan's estranged half-sister, was planning a tell-all book about Meghan. In an interview with The Sun, Samantha said, quote, "Hollywood has changed her. I think her ambition is to become a princess." Samantha also complained that Meghan forgot about her after gaining high society status. A source close to the family told E! News that Samantha cannot be trusted. However, Samantha is not the only person who says this about Meghan. Meghan's former best friend, Nikandi Pretty, told the Daily Mail in December of 2017, quote, "There's Meghan before fame and Meghan after fame." And at number 6, chose career over marriage. Before Meghan was known for her role on Suits, she was actually married to a producer named Trevor Engelson for 2 years, before they eventually split. The split was apparently caused because of Meghan's work, and a former friend said that Meghan clearly chose her career and work over her husband. The former friend, who served as a maid of honor at Markle's wedding to Engelson, told the Daily Mail, quote, "It was such a shock when she told me they were getting divorced. Apparently the stress of the long-distance relationship is what caused the main issue. Meghan was living in Canada at the time, filming the show Suits while her husband was in LA. Apparently Engelson was heartbroken over the split and did not see it coming." Halfway at number 5, does not treat animals well. Meghan Markle likes to be known for her humanitarian and social efforts. One thing that Meghan is very proud of is is that she adopted 2 dogs from a rescue shelter. But it seems that it was not happily ever after for the 2 puppies. After Meghan became a princess and was set to move to Kensington Palace in 2017, a spokesperson confirmed that Markle's retriever, Bogart, would not join her overseas. Apparently, Meghan felt that it was inhumane for the dog to take the long trip, along with the difficult approval process for dogs coming into the country, and Meghan left the dog with one of her friends in LA. Then later in December, Daily Mail reported that her other dog, Guy, broke both of his legs. We're not sure what the circumstances were, but apparently Meghan was, quote, distraught over the accident. In at number 4, Meghan cut off her friends. After Meghan split from her ex-husband, it was said that she spent a lot of time in London. While there, she apparently formed a friendship with local TV personality Lizzie Cundy. After attending an event together, Lizzie disclosed that Meghan wanted her to help finding a new man. Apparently, Meghan wanted him to be British and famous. In a 2019 tell-all, Cundy wrote about Meghan, quote, "We were having a girly chat and then she said, 'Do you know any famous guys? I'm single and I really love English men.' So I said, we'll go out and find you someone." Apparently Meghan was interested in soccer player Ashley Cole, but it didn't go anywhere. Then Meghan apparently slid into the DMs of X Factor winner Matt Cardle in 2015, but shortly after that Cardle just stopped replying. But apparently after Harry showed some interest in Meghan, Meghan felt she had no need to stay in touch with Lizzie Cundy anymore and basically ghosted her. Apparently Cundy asked Meghan about Harry, then they chatted for a bit, but never saw each other again. Cundy added, quote, "I was literally ghosted by her." In the number 3, the staff hate her. It was reported that while Meghan and Harry were living in the royal palace with the other family members, the staff hated Meghan so much that they started to quit. In October of 2018, a palace aide and assistant named Melissa quit because of, quote, Hurricane Meghan. Apparently Melissa was a longtime aide of the family's and a trusted assistant, but that all changed when Meghan came into the picture and annoyed the staff with her requests. Apparently Meghan adopted a lot of West Coast habits like waking up at 5 a.m. and, quote, bombarding aides with texts. One source told the Mirror, quote, "Meghan put a lot of demands on her and it ended up with her in tears. Melissa is a total professional and fantastic at her job, but things came to a head and it was easier for them to both go their separate ways." Apparently Meghan's tension with her staff also caused a rift between Meghan and Kate. Kate apparently called out Meghan for her strict and disrespectful behavior towards the staff. In at number 2, inappropriate requests. On the day of Harry and Meghan's wedding, Meghan wanted everything to be exactly the way she liked it, which is usually what happens for normal weddings. But royal weddings are much different, and most of what happens is passed down for generations and become very strong traditions for the royals. Meghan tried to change a lot of things around for her wedding, which people did not like. One of the most offensive requests was when Meghan asked for air fresheners to be deployed in the chapel where she was to get married. Apparently the smell inside St. George's Chapel was not good enough for her. British insiders stated it does have somewhat of a musty smell, but it is not unpleasant, and it's expected for a building that's been around since 1475. A source said that Meghan wanted the staff to go around with spray guns to make it smell better, but the request was denied. The source said, quote, "Royal household staff stepped in and told her office politely but firmly that this was the Queen's chapel and it simply wasn't appropriate. I don't believe a request of that nature has ever been made before." And finally at number 1, Meghan knew she wouldn't stay royal. The exit of Harry and Meghan from the royal family was devastating news to many. But after further investigation, it seems that Meghan might have known she was not going to be a royal for long. And she might have even concocted this scheme to get the most amount of press possible, then to leave the royal family and go back to Hollywood, where she's always wanted to be. When it was announced that the royals would be leaving, everyone blamed the decision on Meghan, as she was the only change in the family before Harry's formal exit. British columnists said that they think Meghan did not know the difference between being a celebrity and being a royal. Canadian millionaire Kevin O'Leary even slammed Meghan, saying she was the reason that nobody cares about the couple anymore. Quote, "I think Meghan got him into a bad place, and maybe she should do a little soul searching. She knew what she was getting into when she married him." Page 6 also reported that Meghan put some clothes in a storage location in Canada before she got married. She then decided to keep them in Canada, and they were sent to the couple's new Vancouver home after the Megxit announcement. Maybe Meghan left them there because she knew she would be coming back.
In at number 10, Leighton Meester. You'd never be able to tell by how she carries herself today, but this polished celebrity was actually born in a Texas prison while her mother was serving time for drug smuggling. Though her mother was allowed to spend 12 weeks in a halfway house with newborn Leighton, she was soon sent back to jail. Meester ended up living with her grandmother in Florida until her mother was released. At 10, her family moved to New York so that she could begin a career in modeling, only to then pack up again 4 years later and head to Los Angeles. Once in Hollywood, she began auditioning for various roles while taking acting classes, but she found it difficult to relate to kids her age because of her unstable upbringing, an upbringing that she kept hidden for a very long time. Her breakout acting role was when she portrayed Blair Waldorf on Gossip Girl, a character whose mother was the owner of a fashion empire, which, as you can imagine, was a stark contrast from her actual childhood. Today, though, she was worth an estimated $16 million. In at number 9, Selena Gomez. In typical rumor mill fashion, when singer Selena Gomez decided to cancel part of her world tour in 2013, the gossip magazines did all kinds of speculating as to why. They said she was battling a drug and alcohol addiction and listed a plethora of other unconfirmed conspiracies. The real reason that these types of stories kind of bubble up is because of how secretive celebrities are. Although, can we blame them? I'm sure there are some parts of their life that they just want to keep quiet. And it turns out Gomez had been hiding a secret from the world, but it had nothing to do with indulging in addictions. Later on, Selena revealed to Billboard that she had to undergo chemotherapy to treat lupus, a chronic autoimmune disease. She mainly wanted to wait for the right time to talk about it, and when she did, she didn't want to be loud about the whole thing. Selena just wanted to wait so that she could properly use her platform to help spread awareness. In at number 8, Prince. Prince has always been a wild and eccentric character. I mean, in 1993, he literally changed his name to a symbol. If that's not the definition of an enigma, I don't know what is. Although this brilliant musician was hiding a big secret from the world. For his entire life, Prince had been coping with epilepsy, which is a serious medical condition. Although in 2009, he revealed this secret during an interview with PBS. In the interview, Prince told host Tavis Smiley, "I'd never spoken about this before, but I was born epileptic. I used to have seizures when I was young. My mother and father didn't know what to do or how to handle it, but they did the best they could with what little they had." Although Prince said that after a while he was able to keep his condition largely under control. He also noted though that this control over his epilepsy came by way of an angel that spoke to him. In at number 7, Katie Holmes. Just 5 days before Tom Cruise celebrated his 50th birthday, his wife of 5 years, Katie Holmes, filed for divorce in New York. The world was completely shocked by this secret being unearthed. The couple had been spotted together on the set of Oblivion in Iceland just days before, and they were strolling along like nothing was going on. Like, everything's fine, don't look at us. Apparently Holmes orchestrated her escape, if you will, from Cruise very carefully. She set up secret meetings with lawyers and prepared to battle for sole custody of their daughter Shuri. Now, although the details leading up to this was kept secret, if you were watching the tabloids, one could assume that she was using them to shift the public's perspective. Katie Holmes used the sympathies of the tabloids to convince people that she was just this kind of passive wife of Tom Cruise was a maniac, which is believable, right? The weirdest part was that right after her divorce, she had all of these events set up where there would be people there to photograph her. Normally, following a divorce, you would think that you'd, take some time to yourself, take some time off from work maybe, but nope, she just went right to the cover of the August issue of Elle magazine. In at number 6, Caitlyn Jenner. Back in 1971, Jenner participated in their first decathlon, and by 1972, Jenner was competing in the decathlon at the Munich Olympics. At those Olympics, they finished 10th overall in the event, and in 1976, Jenner went on to win the gold in the decathlon at the Montreal Olympics and was declared by the media to be the world's greatest athlete. Jenner was able to accomplish all of this while living with a deep personal secret that wouldn't be shared with the public for, another 40 years? In 2014, Jenner announced that they were divorcing from longtime wife Kris Jenner, and just a year later, Jenner shocked the world when they revealed that they had undergone gender reassignment surgery. At the age of 65, Caitlyn Jenner introduced herself to the world, and by 2015, ESPN had awarded Jenner the Arthur Ashe Courage Award, and to this day, Caitlyn is one of the most prominent public figures to come out as transgender. In at number 5, Lance Armstrong. In 2012, champion cyclist Lance Armstrong denied that he ever relied on performance-enhancing drugs. He referred to the doping allegations against him as outlandish and heinous. However, when the U.S. anti-doping agency revealed compelling evidence, the cyclist's house of lies began to crumble. The agency released about 1,000 pages of evidence in doping allegations against Armstrong and his teammates. This led to him being stripped of 7 Tour de France titles and bronze Olympic medal, plus his secret forced him to step down as chairman of the Livestrong Foundation. Armstrong would later give a detailed account of his doping to Oprah Winfrey in 2013.
I view this situation as one big lie. that I repeated a lot of times.
In at number 4, Arnold Schwarzenegger. The secret that Arnold kept ended up being the bombshell that destroyed his marriage. Just 5 days after Arnold's then wife Maria Shriver gave birth to their 4th son in 1997, the couple's housekeeper, Mildred Patricia Baina, also gave birth to a son by the same action star. He kept this child of his a secret until he completed 2 terms as California's governor in 2011. Then he finally confessed his infidelity to Shriver and later the public. All it took was the media identifying the mystery baby mama, and thus the celebrity scandal had been completed. There have always been celebrities that kept their kids out of the public eye, but nothing in terms of what Arnold was able to pull off by keeping this all a secret for so long. Imagine seeing that kid and be like, this kid looks like Arnold's son. Was that Arnold's son? In at number 3, Charlie Sheen. No one has really been attacked in the press like Charlie Sheen has. Not saying he hasn't earned some of his controversies, but let's just say that there are some very shady people in this world. The notorious actor appeared on NBC's Today Show in 2015 to announce that he was HIV positive. Charlie had been diagnosed with HIV 4 years prior and finally revealed his secret after several people actually tried to blackmail him. Allegedly, there were some people threatening to reveal this secret unless he gave them $10 million.
I'm here to admit that I am in fact HIV positive. And I have to put a stop to this onslaught.
If the timeline is 4 years from this interview, then his diagnosis would have come right as this whole controversy with the show 2.5 Men started. You know, the one where he said in a bunch of interviews that he had tiger blood and Adonis DNA. Like, it's no wonder with that much press on him already that he didn't want to also reveal what could even be perceived as a weakness to his health. In at number 2, Drake. This one was a huge reveal because for so long people were just simply speculating on whether or not Drake was dating someone. So when Pusha T released a track with the line directed at Drake that said, "You are hiding a child, let that boy come home, Adonis is your son," everyone that was watching that feud had this jaw-dropping moment when Drake finally revealed his secret son named Adonis. How did Pusha T know this? Drake would later record a song called Emotionless that explained why he had kept his son hidden from the public. He just didn't want to expose his son to the world that would have had their eyes on his every move. And it's understandable, but I believe it baffled people because it wasn't like he was like happily married to someone. He appeared to just be this rolling stone that was always rumored to be romantically involved with one celebrity or another. Last but certainly not least, on our number 1 spot, Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel. Like many celebrities on this list, JT and JB have had an awful time trying to keep their personal lives out of the public eye. One thing that has certainly helped keep a lot of secrets is, well, this pandemic. I mean, if the paparazzi can't come within 6 feet of you and everyone's on lockdown in their homes, the tabloids must be just suffering right now. Although the Daily Mail still found a way to unearth some celebrity secrets when they revealed that Jessica had secretly given birth to a baby boy. The family are thought to be in Big Sky, Montana, where they have been spending time amid the coronavirus pandemic, and both of them have neglected to share any details whatsoever about the pregnancy, so I guess we'll have to check the Daily Mail if you want info on that celebrity secret.
And at number 10, fake relationships. I think at this point it's clear that most Hollywood relationships are faked for PR. Occasionally these fake relationships actually turn into real love, but most of the time these fake couples split as soon as the movie comes out, making it painfully obvious. One of the most obvious cases of this was the on and off again relationship between Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart during the Twilight days. These two would always be in a relationship when their newest movies were dropping, but then a few weeks after the release, they would break up. Since they split almost immediately after the final Breaking Dawn movie was released, it's clear that it was all a lie. Also, the pair looked so uncomfortable when they were together, and now that we see what they look like in a happy relationship, it's clear that they weren't in one. And at number 9, paid paparazzi. If you've ever wondered why some celebrities look amazing in paparazzi photos while others don't, it's because a lot of celebrities hire their own paparazzi to make sure they never look bad in a photo. The most recent celebrity to get called out for using this tactic was Addison Rae. While Addison was out in New York, she happened to get a ton of great photos of herself out and about in the city, and Page 6 called her out for tipping off the paparazzi about her location so she can get a ton of good pictures. Page 6 called it, quote, "a move straight out of the introductory course at the Kardashian Institute of Advanced Fame Grasbury." Apparently Addison specifically wanted good photos of her outfits so that she could become known for her style. This move has long been used by the Kardashians back when they were up and coming, and now it seems that Addison is taking tips from her new friends. And at number 8, fake bodies.
It's no secret that almost everyone in Hollywood has had some work done. Usually it's minor things like Botox and fillers to maintain youthfulness, but some celebrities went through major changes before making it big, and these cosmetic procedures were the reason that it all happened. Apparently it's an open secret that celebrities will change their bodies to adapt to the times to maintain marketability. But the worst part is that most celebrities don't own up to these big changes, so fans will think these people are effortlessly perfect, and it starts to impact the everyday person's self-esteem. One of the most common procedures seems to be a nose job, and most celebrities that are deemed au naturel have had it done. Blake Lively, Scarlett Johansson, and Jennifer Aniston are just some of the celebrities that fans are convinced had nose jobs, but they will never admit it to fans who think it's all elite genetics. And at number 7, award show corruption. Many fans assume that Oscars and Grammys are given to those who truly deserve it, but once you pull back the curtain, that's really not how it works. And an open secret is that anyone who wants to win one of these awards must campaign for it and basically bribe the judges. This can be in the form of actual money or things like vacations and expensive gifts. Back in 1981, actress Pia Zendora won the Best Newcomer award for her role in the movie Butterfly. It was a shock to everyone until it was exposed that her husband paid off the voting members to ensure that she won, and over time the practice did not get better. In 2011, publicist Michael Russell sued the Hollywood Foreign Press Association for firing him. He was trying to expose the corruption with the award show, and they didn't like that. The parties settled the dispute out of court. And at number 6, cheating. Movies often take months to film. That's long, grueling hours away from family and friends, stuck with the small same group of people. Because of how it all works, movie sets are breeding grounds for extramarital affairs, especially if you're spending a lot of time with your love interest in the movie that you're hugging and kissing all day on set. There are truly too many examples to name, but there's a solid chance that one of your favorite actors cheated on their spouse during the filming of a hit movie. The most famous are Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Kristen Stewart and director Rupert Sanders during the filming of their project. And obviously, this happens a lot more than it's reported. Halfway number 5, fake names. The vast majority of Hollywood A-listers do not use their real names, instead they concocted a stage name. This is done for a variety of reasons. Sometimes just because their old name isn't as flashy, but other times the reasons are pretty dark. For some examples of celebrities with fake names, Martin Sheen's real name is Raymond Antonio Gerard Estevez, Jamie Foxx's name is Eric Marlon Bishop, and Marilyn Monroe's real name was Norma Jean Mortensen. Then other times a name change can be used to hide nepotism. Like for instance, Nicolas Cage's real name is Nicholas Coppola, and he's the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola, a famous Hollywood director. This familial connection landed Nick Cage his first role in the movie Peggy Sue Got Married. Other times a name change can be to hide racism. Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actor Chloe Bennett, real name Chloe Wang, said, quote, "Hollywood is racist and wouldn't cast me with the last name that made them uncomfortable." And at number 4, stuntmen regularly lose their lives. Stuntmen are a very common thing on movie sets because A-list actors aren't able to do the stunts that we see in a lot of action movies. But fans might not know what a dangerous job that it is, and stuntmen regularly get critically injured or even lose their lives. And for how vital their role is to these movies, they are not paid fairly. The average stunt person pulls in about $250K a year, which sounds great, but is nothing compared to the about $20 million that the movie stars are making. Big name stars are obviously the ones that sell the tickets, but they're not the ones who put their lives on the line. During the filming of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, Daniel Radcliffe's stunt double David Holmes got hit by a staged explosion, and he was so seriously injured by the fragments that he suffered a neck break that left him fully paralyzed. Then on the set of Deadpool 2, a stuntman lost their life during a car crash scene. And at number 3, substance misuse. Following the release of the biopic Judy, we got to see the horrible practices the movie execs would use to get their talent to do what they wanted, specifically using illicit substances to wake the actors up and keep them on set working for very long hours. According to a 1982 New York Times article, use of these substances became so common that movie insurers would put clauses in their contracts to cut losses from these sorts of incidents, because several deaths and injuries on set stem from the use of these substances. In her 2013 memoir, Debbie Reynolds, the female lead for the 1952 musical Singing in the Rain, recalled that when her grueling schedule started to take a toll on her health, a studio executive told her to, quote, take vitamin shots from his doctor. Then Judy Garland revealed her mother would give her, quote, pep pills to ensure she had enough energy to film all day. Because of the toll these substances took on her health, Judy unfortunately passed away at the age of 47 because of an OD from these substances. And at number 2, inappropriate behavior runs rampant. So I'm gonna have to dance around the subject a bit for this one, but the things that have been exposed during the Me Too and Time's Up era are not new and have been happening for decades. Harvey Weinstein wasn't the first and only power player in Hollywood to use his power to get women to do what he wanted. And this all goes back to the idea of the quote casting couch, where you are expected to do sexual favors to these executives in exchange for a role. And there are many examples of this behavior taking place in Hollywood. Even worse, this behavior can also happen against one study even found that 94% of women employed in the American film industry have experienced sexual harassment or worse. This is a staggering number that should make everyone push for change. And finally, at number 1, discrimination problem. The problem of diversity in Hollywood is something that's being brought up more and more over the years, and when we look at some of the stats, it's pretty wild. Only one woman has ever won the Oscar for Best Director, and that was Kathryn Bigelow for the 2008 movie The Hurt Locker. Also, only one African American has ever won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay in the history of the Academy. That was Jordan Peele in 2018 for Get Out. But the problem is not only in the cast and crew of the movies, it's the higher up of the business in general. A 2016 Washington Post investigation reported that 96% of Hollywood's decision makers were white and 87% of them were male. Clearly a large gap between those demographics and what we see in society today. A study of 100 movies released in 2016 also showed that about 70% of speaking roles in that year's top 100 films were white, leaving 30% to account for Black, Asian, and Hispanic people. Another shocking stat was that just 31% of speaking characters were female.
Number 10. Matthew Perry. During his time playing Chandler Bing on the TV show Friends, fans would have never guessed that Matthew Perry was privately struggling with a Vicodin addiction. It all started with a horrible jet ski accident in 1997 that left the actor with pretty serious injuries, for which he was then prescribed the pain-blocking medication Vicodin. But throughout all this, the star was able to maintain his acting career and managed to keep his dependency under wraps. He told the New York Times in 2002 that he went to work in extreme cases of hangover, and it was so horrible to be like that and still have to be funny on top of that. His friend's co-star Lisa Kudrow noticed everything. Quote, "When Matthew was sick, it was not fun. We were just hopelessly standing on the sidelines. We were hurting a lot." Sometime later, the beloved actor confessed that the series was causing him immense stress, which subsequently made his addiction worse. But throughout all of this, Perry has a positive outlook on life. Quote, "The best thing about me is that if an alcoholic comes to me and says, 'Will you help me stop drinking?' I will say, 'Yes, I know how to do that.'" So it's amazing that he's now able to help others who are in the same situation. Number 9. Machine Gun Kelly. In a candid conversation with Dave Franco for Interview magazine, the 32-year-old singer revealed that he was dealing with a secret dependency on illicit substances while writing and recording music. He said that he believed that this is how you attained a certain level or unlocked something in your brain. Quote, "Adderall was a huge thing for me for a long time, and I went from orally taking it to then it, and then it became something where I was scared to ever go into a studio if I didn't have something." Kelly went on to say that he wouldn't even step out unless there was a medicine man who was going to visit him and give him what he needed. Quote, "And that's where it becomes a problem. You're telling yourself you can't do this without that, when really it's in you the whole time. If that pill did that for you, then everyone who's taken that would just be making albums and writing songs. And so that limited me." The singer explained that the most challenging part of recovery is separating his music persona, Machine Gun Kelly, from who he really is as Colson Baker, and credits his girlfriend Megan Fox as an essential part of his support system. But Kelly is putting in the work to live a sober life and is currently taking steps to change. In fact, he had his first therapy session last month, so things are looking good for him. Number 8. Demi Lovato. The star has struggled with addiction since 2010, when she first entered rehab at the age of 18. Over the years, Demi returned to rehab to treat an eating disorder, self-harm, and substance addiction. For the Disney Channel star, the success of Camp Rock and various other shows really launched her into the spotlight, but the way she coped with the stress and demands of superstardom was unfortunately turning to illicit substances. She managed to keep this all under wraps throughout her youth until her secret life was eventually exposed. In July of 2018, Demi suffered an overdose, and she spent several days in the hospital before going to treatment later that summer. In August, she told her Instagram followers that she was hospitalized, and she released the following statement on Instagram, quote, "What I've learned is that this illness is not something that disappears or fades with time. It's something I must continue to overcome and have not done yet." Since then, her journey through the ups and downs of sobriety has helped many people, and she has since been able to speak openly about her addictions. Number 7. Ben Affleck. The actor has long been vocal about his sobriety throughout his career, starting with his openness about his family history and rehab stays. But it wasn't wasn't always this way. In fact, for many years, he was battling his addiction to alcohol in secret. In 2012, he confessed to Barbara Walters that his father was an alcoholic and said that he drank all day, every day, explaining that the legacy of that is quite powerful and hard to shake. After starring in Good Will Hunting, Affleck took a serious look at his binge drinking. Quote, "I just wanted to stop. I started regretting some things I did when I was drunk. It's funny to be obnoxious or out of control. I have almost no inhibitions, so it's dangerous for me." But it wasn't until 2001 that the actor actually sought treatment for his alcoholism. He has since been to rehab multiple times and has been in recovery ever since. Things have been going well for the actor recently, but recovery can be an uphill battle, and Affleck suffered another setback in October 2019, 2 months after celebrating 1 year of sobriety, when he was photographed leaving a Halloween party intoxicated. But in January last year, he revealed on the podcast Awards Chatter that he feels very good despite having slips here and there. Number 6. Jamie Lee Curtis. It was 1998 and the iconic Scream Queen was cooking dinner for her and her 2 children in her LA home. And doing what she usually did, Jamie reached into her pants pocket and scooped up 5 Vicodin and swallowed them all at once with a swig of wine. But she didn't realize that a friend who was staying at the house was watching her from a doorway and she was caught red-handed. Quote, "The jig was up. Now I knew someone knew. I had been nursing a secret Vicodin addiction for a very long time, over 10 years. Jamie had been hooked on the substance after routine plastic surgery to remove the puffiness around her eyes. She said that the surgery itself wasn't painful, but they gave her Vicodin to aid recovery, and from there on she was hooked. Not only that, but the addiction ran in her family, and her brother Nicholas sadly passed away from substance use disorder at the age of 21 in 1994. Last year, Jamie opened up to Hello magazine about her struggle. Quote, "My recovery is the single greatest accomplishment that I will ever get to do in this human life. I have been clean and sober for 22 years. The actress is now an advocate for policies to reduce opioid misuse. Number 5. Dak Shepard. The actor, podcast host, and husband of Christian Bale has famously talked about his recovery process. In his podcast, The Armchair Expert, Dak said that he was proud to have been sober from alcohol and for the past 16 years, and that he wanted to be open and honest about his recovery journey in order to help others who might be struggling with active addiction. But talking about it wasn't always easy for him. In fact, earlier this year, he said he initially didn't want to go public with the relapse out of fear of losing his connection with people. The actor also reflected on his rock bottom and how his infamous 2004 interview with Conan O'Brien almost derailed his career entirely. Dax did the pre-interview with Conan while blackout drunk. Quote, "I show up on the show, I don't know what he's talking about, I can tell he's queuing me up for stories I've told, but I don't know any of the stories, so I'm just doing what I can to be funny out there and I am a mess." During the interview, he noticeably slurred his words before falling off the side of his chair and accidentally flipping the coffee table that was in front of him. But he's come a long way since then and now uses his experience to talk openly about addiction and sobriety in a way that is both funny and relatable. Number 4. Jamie Campbell Bower. The 33-year-old British actor began his ascent to fame in Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street in 2007 alongside Johnny Depp. He was then cast in Twilight New Moon as the ancient leader Caius and starred as a young Gellert Grindelwald in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 the following year. Today, Jamie is best known for playing the villain Vecna in Series 4 of Stranger Things, but has since revealed that he has been suffering from substance addiction in his early years. The actor posted a 2-part tweet telling fans about his problems with substance misuse and his time in hospital receiving mental health treatment. Quote, 12 and a half years ago, I was in active addiction, hurting myself and those around me who I love the most. It got so bad that eventually I ended up in hospital for mental health. But he went on to assure fans that he is now 7.5 years clean and sober. He admitted that he had made many mistakes in his life, but each day is a chance to start again, atone for mistakes and grow. He ended the tweet with an inspiring message by saying that he is so grateful to be sober and that all of us are works in progress. Number 3, Bradley Cooper. In a new episode of the Smartless podcast, hosted by Will Arnett, Jason Bateman, and Sean Hayes, Bradley Cooper opened up about the addiction struggles that haunted his 20s and how a friend jump-started his journey to recovery. The Oscar-nominated actor said that when he moved to LA for his role in Alias, he felt like he was back in high school, which ruined his self-esteem. Quote, "I couldn't get into any clubs, no girls wanted to look at me, I was totally depressed." He was later fired from the series and was dealing with an injury to his Achilles tendon at the same time. During this trying time in his career, he turned to coke, and his addiction slowly got worse over time. It was only when Cooper went to a dinner party with Arnett when he was 29 that he realized he had hit rock bottom. Arnett, who was essentially his hero, called him out for his rude behavior during the party, and then the actor had a light bulb moment and realized that he had a problem with illicit substances and alcohol. Then between the ages of 29 to 34, the actor worked really hard at sobriety and had an ongoing journey of self-acceptance thanks to therapy. Number 2. Travis Barker. The Blink-182 drummer was in a horrific plane crash in 2008 that killed everyone on board except for him and one passenger. Although Travis survived, his two closest friends, Chris Baker and Charles Still, lost their lives that day. The only other survivor, his friend Adam Goldstein, died the following year. In the aftermath of all the tragedy, Travis spent 3 months in the hospital and had to have 26 different surgeries performed on him and multiple skin grafts to treat his various injuries from the crash. But what's truly amazing here is prior to the accident, Travis had been suffering from an intense addiction to opioids for several years, as it was only the life-changing crash that altered his mental state enough to ditch the substances. He told Men's Health, quote, "People are always like, did you go to rehab? And I say no, I was in a plane crash. That was my rehab. Lose 3 of your friends and almost die? That was my wake-up call. If I wasn't in a crash, I would probably never quit." Travis said that he used to smoke an excessive amount of a certain leafy green substance and used painkillers as a method of coping with his fear of flying that he developed osteoporosis. In fact, in the hospital for 11 weeks following the crash, Travis frequently regained consciousness during surgeries because his opioid tolerance was so high. And coming in at number 1, Robert Downey Jr. The actor is now one of the most notable and inspiring cases for sobriety. Robert Downey Jr. has had a phenomenal Hollywood comeback story and is now one of the most bankable and highly paid actors in show business, starring in blockbuster comic book films like Iron Man and in the Avengers, but the actor spent most of his early career under the influence, leading to high-profile arrests and a string of rehab visits. His addiction started during childhood and was allegedly encouraged by his father, Robert Downey Sr., who also had a substance use disorder and allowed his son to try a leafy green substance at only 6 years old. According to a 1996 People article, the illicit substances actually facilitated an emotional bond between the two, and so for years, addiction was incredibly difficult for Downey Jr. to break away from. It was only when his wife, Susan Downey, revealed in 2003 that she gave her husband an ultimatum that he decided to quit for good. And apparently, it stuck because 10 years later, in an interview with Daily Mail, the actor credited a combination of 12-step programs, yoga, meditation, and therapy for keeping him sober.
Kicking off the countdown list, number 10 is her lip injections. Is it really a Kylie Jenner list if it doesn't talk about her lips? I mean, I feel like that would be a sin not to talk about her lips. For years now, her lips have always been the most talked about feature on her body. Believe it or not. Her fans first noticed that as she started to grow older, she seemed to have fuller lips. And for a while, she was telling her fans that it was just lip liner and a photo filter, making them look more full. Over time, she did finally come clean about getting lip injections, and it was revealed that she had them done when she was just a teenager. Turns out she had her first injections when she was just 16 years old. And she said that she kept it a secret because she didn't want people to look at her as a bad influence. Because obviously when you're 16, you have a lot of young fans and you don't want to be putting needles in your face at 16 years old. Girl, too young. You know what I just thought of? That just means Kris Jenner had to sign off on that because you will need parental consent. Coming in next at number 9 is the envy between Kylie and Kendall. When your entire family is famous and everyone has their own businesses running, one might think that there would be some kind of competition going on. I mean, some of their products and businesses are like a conflict of interest with each other. Like they're in competition. But because they are all sisters and they are all very successful, each sister has said that they do not feel threatened by anyone else. But there was some tea spilled and a source claimed that Kendall and Kylie have a secret rivalry that's never really talked about. The sisters seem to be incredibly close to us because of their small age gap and their many collaborations throughout the years. But a source told Radar Online, I quote, "There's so much envy between these two, it's as though they're not happy when the other one is doing well." Some little sister competition going on. I mean, I get that. I feel like there might naturally just be a little bit of envy there. Cruising into number 8 is her hair. Just by following her or seeing some of her pictures, you'd be able to tell that her hair is fake. She switches up her look often, usually sporting bright colored wigs or changing up the length and color of her real hair with hair extensions. But her appearance is important for her brand for many reasons. You probably never stop to think about why she keeps changing her hair. And I don't blame you, because there are like a million other more important things to think about. But it turns out that she makes these changes on purpose. She said that changing her hair makes her feel like a new person. And many of us females can totally relate to that. Despite her brand having to do with some of it, there seems to be more personal reasoning behind it too. I mean, I can't say I've never dyed my hair, wanting to feel like a different person. Like, you know, post breakup, I gotta get new hair, I'm a new me. And spot number 7 is her weird collection. Having a collection is not uncommon, even having weird collections isn't uncommon. People collect things all the time, and it kind of just depends on what you think is weird or not. I personally collect stuffed animals. And I'm serious, I call them my furry friends and I love them. And I would love if you guys would let me know in the comments if you have a weird collection. This is a judgment-free zone. Yeah, let me know. But anyways, back to Kylie. Her collection is really random, and it's easy to think that it probably has to do with fashion or beauty or skincare, but it turns out it is not even close to that. Turns out she has a collection of rubber ducks and has been collecting them for years. When she was younger, the one thing she always asked for on her birthday was a rubber duck, and she said she still has some of her very first ones. I wonder if she'll pass them along to Stormy, because that would actually be really cute. Sliding into number 6 is the fact that she is shy. Now I know what you're thinking. The way she posts on social media, you wouldn't think that she is necessarily the shy type. She often posts pictures in barely anything clothing and in bikinis, showing off her skin and flaunting her curves. The reality is though, who she is on social media and who she is behind the scenes are two totally different people. She appears to have all the confidence in the world, but she's actually quite shy. She was speaking with People magazine when she let it slip that she is a lot more shy than people think, and in really busy situations, she gets anxious and shy very easily. She plays it off well though, especially seeing as there's cameras surrounding her every single day. She seems like a natural. So she is hiding that well. I did not picture her as like the shy type. We are halfway through and we have her secret on makeup. Forbes named her the youngest self-made billionaire after she started her own beauty company, Kylie Cosmetics. Her entire world revolves around makeup, quite literally, since it's basically her full-time income. Unlike her sister Kendall, she doesn't do modeling, and she isn't really in the fashion industry like her other Kardashian sisters. So it might surprise people to learn that even though she created a beauty empire around makeup, she doesn't actually like wearing makeup. She exposed her little secret and said that she only wears makeup because that's what her fans like to see on her social media. She says that she has a passion for makeup, but she doesn't personally like to wear it often, and that there is a difference between the two. I get that. I like makeup. Like, I'm intrigued by makeup. I like makeup. I don't like wearing it though. I can't wait to take it off. Moving along to number 4, Kylie is stubborn. Her biggest fans would love to think that they know everything about her. A big part of having celebrity status is that all your fans think they personally know you. It's kind of weird when you think about it. Like, people obsess over someone that they've never actually met and know nothing about. But even if you thought you knew what she was like, one of her traits that she might not want you knowing about is that she is incredibly stubborn. Welcome to the club, sister. I know all about that. There are many different words that can be used to describe her, and an insider dish that's stubborn is one of them. They said, I quote, "If you knew Kylie, she can be very stubborn. When she makes her decisions, she sticks by them." I mean, I feel like that's not necessarily a bad trait though. Or maybe I'm just saying that because I'm stubborn and I want to think it's a good thing, but in some cases, being stubborn isn't really a bad thing. Taking over the 3rd spot is she wants to live behind the scenes. If you look at her social media, you might get the impression that she loves all of the attention that she gets, but the truth is she doesn't. She doesn't like being recognized every time she goes out, and she would rather live a more private life. During an interview with Wonderland magazine, she said, "I want to be a businesswoman and behind the scenes. Kylie Jenner needs to retire." Girl, I hate to break it to ya, but your career is just getting started. She still chooses to live her life in the public eye, but admits that she hates a lot of the attention she gets and the pressures that come along with it. Realistically though, even if she didn't want to live in the public eye anymore, it's kind of too late for that. Like, she can never just go out and people aren't gonna freak out. In spot number 2 is her secret cousin. That's right, apparently Kylie has a cousin that has been behind the shadows this whole time. The craziest part is that she looks like a spitting image of Kylie. You may have already seen her on social media. Her name is Natalie Zettel, and she's the youngest cousin of the family and is a low-key Instagram model. People recently caught on to this unknown little fact, and no one is really sure why we are just finding this out. Natalie is the daughter of Kris Jenner's younger sister. People found out about her after a picture of her and Kylie started surfacing on the internet. When you see them together side by side without all the makeup and hair and wigs and all of that, you can tell that they're related, and it's kind of cute. She's beautiful. Finally, we have made it to number 1, and we have her pregnancy was unexpected. Alright, so the majority of us, this isn't really a secret. I feel like we all assumed this anyway, but it's totally not fair to judge someone that we don't even know on whether or not they planned on getting pregnant. Because really, we don't know what happened behind the scenes. The world went into a frenzy when the rumors first started, and Kylie completely went MIA and hid it from the entire world. When she first found out about her pregnancy, she wanted to keep that moment for herself rather than live it out in front of the world, where she says that she would have been judged for it. Which she probably would have because she was so young. She admits that she did not plan on getting pregnant, but that it was the most amazing experience nonetheless. I mean, I get it. If I was her age and had that platform and I unexpectedly got pregnant, the amount of anxiety I would have, I wouldn't even want to tell my own parents, let alone the entire world.
So starting off at number 10, we have Tiger Woods. So back in 2009, Tiger Woods was at the top of his game, and he held the title of best golfer in the world. He also had a beautiful family with 2 kids and a loving wife. But it all changed when the National Enquirer accused him of having an affair with a nightclub manager. This then led Tiger to crash his Escalade into a neighbor's tree at 2 a.m. and he was charged for reckless driving. This then led to rumors that Tiger's wife, Elin Nordegren, knew of the affair and was physically attacking him for it and smashing his car. After all this came out, it got worse for the family when countless women came forward with their stories of sleeping with Woods, making it clear that Tiger was cheating throughout their picture-perfect marriage. A few months later, in February 2010, Woods came on television and made a statement about all of it, admitting he was unfaithful to his wife and he was going to be treated for a sex addiction. But because of all this, his golfing took a huge hit, and some of his biggest sponsors pulled the plug on him. And at number 9, Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner was known for many things over the last few decades, with her being a successful Olympic athlete and then the lovable and relatable dad of the Kardashian family on Keeping Up. But during all those years, Caitlyn was holding in a huge secret, and that was the fact that she identified as a woman practically her whole life. The situation started when Kris Jenner divorced Caitlyn in 2014, with the tabloids rumoring that Caitlyn was transitioning. But after months of speculation, Caitlyn set the record straight in July of 2015 and did an interview with Diane Sawyer, confirming that she was a woman. There was also a special on Keeping Up, where Caitlyn told her family of her new identity, and we got to see the family react to the news. And after all these years, it's great to see that Caitlyn now can live as her true self, but unfortunately some of the things she has said about her transition has caused her former Kar Jenner family members to distance themselves. And at number 8, Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber rose to fame as a teen idol and a bubblegum pop sensation. But this wholesome reputation didn't last as Justin got older, and he was caught starting fights, egging houses, and getting arrested for a DUI. Because of all the negative things about him in the press, he was banned from several countries and would leave his concerts early if people were annoying him. This caused some of his fans to turn on him, with him getting a water bottle thrown at his head during one performance. But after a few years with a bad reputation, he decided to turn it around in 2017, and he canceled a tour in order to spend more time attending church and making himself a better person. And now he's very outspoken about his dedication to God and makes it a center point of his life. And now that he's married, he seems to be on a better path. And at number 7, Coco Chanel. Coco Chanel is best known for creating one of the most recognizable luxury brand names ever. She was born in France in 1883. By the time she was 27, she owned a successful clothing store, and only 10 years later, she would release the little black dress and change the face of fashion forever. But while her brand was growing in the 1930s, France was taken over by Hitler's army, and many Parisians resisted the German invasion. But to the surprise of many, Coco was not one of those people, and she seemed to welcome the rules that the Germans were enforcing at the time. She even dated an SS soldier at one point. And although many say it meant nothing, there have been many rumors over the years that Coco was anti-Semitic. With one book called Sleeping with the Enemy, Coco Chanel's Secret War, the author alleges that Coco was actually a secret intelligence operative for the Germans. After the war, she fled to Switzerland, but she managed to come back to France later because she got funding from the wealthy Wertheimer family, who still control most of the company and do their best to avoid questions about Coco's relation to the Germans. And at number 6, Teresa Giudice. Teresa is best known for her messy antics on The Real Housewives of New Jersey, and it seemed that ever since she was featured on the show, she was doing everything possible to prove her and her husband were uber rich. But the cracks started to reveal themselves pretty fast. It started when the couple filed for bankruptcy. Then a few years later, Teresa and her husband Joe were sentenced to jail after pleading guilty to fraud charges in 2014. After pleading, Teresa ended up serving 11 months of the 15-month sentence and came out of jail $11 million in debt. But her husband had an even worse fate and was released to ICE, who later deported him back to Italy. And even worse, the couple ended up separating in 2019. And this is a classic case of what's called a duck, and that's someone who looks fine above water, but underneath their legs are kicking like crazy, and they're doing whatever they can to stay afloat and maintain that rich image. Halfway number 5, Amber Heard. If you watch I.O., then you definitely know about Amber Heard. Amber Heard and Johnny Depp were married in 2015 after meeting on the set of The Rum Diary. But only a year later, the couple had divorced, and Amber requested a restraining order against Depp, citing violence and physical abuse. Then an explosive TMZ video came out showing Depp throwing a wine bottle and glass at Heard. She also submitted pictures to the court showing bruises on her face. After all this was exposed, everyone took Amber's side, and Johnny was blacklisted from Hollywood. But the story wasn't over yet, and voice recordings were later leaked showing that Amber was actually abusive to Johnny on many occasions, and Heard had actually been accused of domestic violence many times in her past, while Johnny's ex-girlfriends came to his defense, saying that he had never hurt them. Right now, they're involved in a lengthy court case with Johnny suing Heard for defamation, and a lot more is coming out, including the fact that she in their bed, and I wish I was joking, but I sadly am not. In number 4, Matt Lauer. Matt Lauer was one of the biggest news personalities on NBC for 2 decades, and he rose through the ranks of the organization very quickly, with the network paying him $25 million a year. And near the end, he was so powerful at the company, he could practically do whatever he wanted, and he'd get away with it. But his days on top came to an end in 2017, when Lauer was abruptly fired after tons of sexual allegations were revealed. According to Ronan Farrow, it started with one employee complaining he forced himself on her in a hotel room during the 2014 Olympics. Then shortly after, 3 more women came out. As well, he's accused of treating women like objects and just being an all-around bad guy with a smooth-talking facade. Lauer claimed it was all consensual, but of course he was let go from the company and is now disgraced in the industry. And at number 3, Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen is one of the most beloved people ever, and before her huge scandal, she was one of the most well-known people on television. She was even nicknamed the Queen of Nice. But that all came crashing down in March of 2020, when Kevin T. Porter claimed that her niceness was all an act, and she was, quote, notoriously one of the meanest people alive. Then more people came out with their stories about Ellen, with one server saying she got fired because Ellen complained about her chipped nail polish. Then when the lockdowns happened, Ellen was one of the only shows that didn't pay her employees during the leave. Then tons of reports came out that Ellen's show had a toxic work environment, and top producers were accused of sexual conduct and racist behavior. She recently just came back on air, and time will tell if she can win back people's hearts. Based on the dislike ratings in her most recent Ellen 2 videos, it's not looking too good. In at number 2, Demi Lovato. Demi was one of Disney's most promising stars in the early 2000s. But there were a lot of up and downs happening behind the scenes of her life that no one really knew about. After Demi punched one of her backup dancers in 2010, Demi checked into rehab to address her, quote, emotional and personal issues. Some of those issues include bipolar disorder, an eating disorder, and frequent use of drugs. In her documentary, she opened up about her use of drugs further, saying, quote, I was sneaking it on planes, sneaking it on bathrooms, sneaking it through the night. Nobody knew. It was so bad she came close to ODing multiple times. One of those times was in 2018 when she was rushed to a hospital because she'd taken too much. Since then, she's committed to remaining sober and is living a healthy life. And finally, number 1, Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams is known on television as the woman that spills the tea, and she's one of the most entertaining and shady hosts ever. And one of the things people love most about her is how honest she is with her fans, sharing most of the details of her personal life. But in 2017 is when things started happening. They made it clear there was more going on behind the scenes than we all knew. First, she fainted live on air in 2017, then took weeks off to rest, revealing later that she struggled with Graves' disease for years. Then in March of 2019, she made headlines when she revealed that she was sober after many years of being a functioning drug addict. Then only a few weeks later, it was revealed her and her husband were splitting after his mistress gave birth to a child, revealing later in an interview with Andy Cohen that she knew of her husband's infidelities for years, but she stayed because of her son.